for Super. The Dragons teach us that if we want to climb high, we must do it against the wind.
Hello again, APAC Warriors. It's another day of the Overwatch League. My name is Trid. I'm, of course, being joined by Avril again. And we're going to be kicking off with 2 matches today as things start heating up about it's week 1 of the Midseason Madness qualifiers. Right, Avril?
Yeah, it is. Warriors. That's a good one. I like that.
APAC Warriors? Yeah. I feel like you have to be quite aggressive.
On board tonight. I mean, what? Guangzhou Charge, LA Valiant, fighting for an opportunity to sort of climb into the tournament. Let's take a look at the standings to see, who is eligible, who's already in there, who might be out. And dare I say, Trid, maybe after tonight, the end of week 1, teams could actually be mathematically out. The margins are very slim in terms of points.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to pull up those standings and take a look. But I'm fairly certain there's only one team that's secured so far. I think that's the Seoul Dynasty. So they're pretty solid right now. And you may be looking at some of those scorelines and thinking, they're pretty dire. But technically, all 6 of the other teams in the Eastern region can still qualify for the main event. It just looks very difficult for some of them. And particularly when you look around Philadelphia Fusion, Avril, it's like that's the team to beat to get in, because obviously it's the top 4 that go to the next stage. And sometimes you don't need to be able to outrun the pack of lions chasing you. You just need to be able to outrun the slowest member. So that's really what the bottom of the pack is all about. Like, who's going to get that 4th place? So I think a lot of people will struggle to contend with Spark, Dragons, and Dynasty at the top.
Yeah, it's the 5 points of Fusion, right? So, if we're trying to outrun each other, you got to catch up the Fusion, maybe try and trip him over, then sneak past him. The 2-point lead, though, makes things very difficult. It does require both, I'd say Chengdu, Valiant have the best chances here, being that they've already won matches in this particular week and this stage. Charge, I'm going to say, if they don't win tonight, it's probably looking dire. So take a look at their roster as well in a hot second. But yeah, the Guangzhou Charge, they lost already this particular week. Didn't look great. Very worried, very concerned about this team and their capability to get much more done this particular stage. I mean, they're not mathematically out, as we have been able to deduce, but at this point, they're as good as out, and they would need to have all the rest of the games being wins, and they would need as well the other 3 teams ahead of them, Valiant, Hunters, and Fusion, to kind of falter and lose games.
It's a tall order for the Charge, but let's take a look at the starting roster for today. It's Develop, Choice 1, Rio, Unique, and Farway to kick things off on our first map. And Develop's been having an okay time playing Sojourn, who seems to have taken over the meta since I last jumped on the broadcast, Avril. So I'm expecting more of that, and no real reason to change away from what we've been seeing so far.
It's been mostly kind of popping off on that Widowmaker, and on the other end, you're going to have the hitscanner Easy Han. In response, who's been playing a decent amount of Ashe, Sojourn there as well. Dia had a great performance on the Widowmaker, also for the LA Valiant. Marvel, the new player on this team in the tank position, has been kind of a dominant force, especially coming through on the Doomfist. We saw how powerful that was in the reverse sweep versus the Philadelphia Fusion. And that was an incredible game from the LA Valley, not just because it was a reverse sweep, but it's a necessary game where you got to keep the Fusion behind to climb ahead of them, to get past them. Molly as well got player of the match in that particular game on the Zenyatta, so all of these kind of heroes that are thriving in this meta are heroes that the Valiant are pretty good at.
Of course, they need to be able to beat out the Guangzhou Charge today, because they also are not secured with that standings race as we spoke about. We were talking about the impracticalities of Charge making the run through, but Valiant still have to do the work as well. Oasis is going to be our first destination in this series. It looks like we're kicking things off on Gardens.
So very necessary win on both sides. I mean, even Valiant losing here would kind of cost their run as well. So these teams that started with only 1 point this stage, I mean, I think a 6-0 is more than required at this stage, plus Fusion falling over. So Valiant would happily be keen to get that 2 points, put them slightly further ahead, keep them on par with the Chengdu Hunters, who themselves have looked pretty reasonable so far this stage. Gardens, like you say, just head on the rollout. Marvel on the Doom, as expected. Innovation here to play the Tracer. Easy Han, a lot of Ashe so far. I would prefer the Sojourn, but he prefers the Ashe.
See them posturing around the point. Marvel back on the Doomfist, as we've highlighted as well. Had some fantastic performances on that hero so far. Rio taking a couple of sprays there from Innovation, but turns his attention back over to Choice-1 in the mirror. This point very much under the control of Valiant for the time being, but they're going to have to push out and attempt to clear him out. Unique going down low, nearly dies. Immortality Field will give him a fraction of extra time to survive there and get some support in, so will stay up. No one has dropped as of yet, but Valiant is still in control of the point. Not enough to get that first... Oh, no, as I was about to say it, Rio had to roll away. So first cab going away of the Valiant. They begin to try and protect it. Marvel going very low. Orb of Discord on them as well. They will find the healing. Incredibly mobile. Probably able to get some cover to stay alive as Innovation is on the hunt around the back line. Finds far away, gets a spray down. Pulse Bomb available. No Immortality Field. Goes in, but has to use the recall while Molly and Easy Han start picking up the kills. Develop with the railgun to take Easy Han off the field. Throws Pulse Bomb in. Rio rolls away from it, but Charge, they can't find a look in here at the moment, Avril.
Well, I mean, they've finally got some kills on board, and we have, you know, at least the first frag or two. Choice-1 responding on towards Molly. The opportunity now for the Guangzhou Charge to get one over the LA Valiant, where ultimates are not quite online. The closest ultimate was actually going to be that nano boost. Well, sans the pulse that was used to kill Molly, of course.
Choice-1 keeps an eye. He's pinged out Marvel, who's gone down incredibly low again, but slivers out with a fraction of health. Can't find the bio nade, but able to use the left click to get it done. Nano boost given over to Marvel. Dives into the back line. He's found far away. It's an easy pickup. The support is locked in. The cage match is developed. Will also be tagged in for another submission. And the Valiant keeping strong as they move into the final third of this round.
Just struggling to get these kills, right? Struggling to finish off players that were low. Marvel is such low HP. We even saw the missed nade coming through from Molly, but not going to be much of an issue. The nano still delivered over. Allows Marvel to move on in. Get a couple frags. Get that points up. Still in the control of the Valiant. 80% and counting now. Support ultimates online for the Charge. And I see a turn to start this fight. Still waiting for that developed Sojourn overclock. That will be really important for the retake. Still not quite online.
Getting close. 92%. Easy Han's also got Bob in here to stall out the point if they need to and control some of the angles. Marvel retreats to that Mega, but immediately Charge knew where they were going to be landing. Get some early damage in. Unique's taken out before this final fight. It's not looking good. Pulse Bomb will remove their saving grace, which was the Immortality Field they threw out. But the overclock's online for Develop. He finally got the kill onto Easy Han, and they've cleared Marvel, who's been toying on the fraction of death this entire round, and is finally sent to the grave as Far Away finds 2 on the Zenyatta. Just Innovation left up, but at 99%, the Valiant will get the flip and begin to contest this map.
Okay, so the overclock indeed does give the value that Charge were looking for. Unique getting Bionated was really unfortunate as well, because Faraway couldn't use the trance to save him, so waiting for the purple to go away. Pops the trance, Unique's already dead. Working on low numbers there, but the Charge will come through. We've actually equalized on final blows as well, 7-7 on both ends, and that deadlock is broken now by Easy Han's kill to Joy.
Just going to push forward here. They just knocked Rio into the lower route, into the center, as Easy Han retreat back to the point. Marvel contesting for the time being, forcing someone to respond to them. They knew Rio was busy, and that's the flip coming in for Valiant. Rio still around by the spawn.
4 versus 5. Developed down to no damage. You have to rely on choice of one. Yeah, he can't really do too much without a pulse bomb still. Time is running out. I mean, the OT timer is certainly ticking down. Farway's
gone
as well. And this is just a permanent 4v5.
And Unique can't get anywhere to provide any value, just constantly under pressure. No allies nearby to receive any healing from them. Everyone's going down. There's only who's contesting right now? I think it's just Rio on the point. No, he's going to have choice A1 recall as well. Yeah, everyone just getting fractured apart there and just taken off one by one. Not a cohesive fight for the Charge, and the Valiant will secure the round.
So point flip into a developed kill into, you know, Faraway did as well. So consistently on the back foot there as far as picks goes. Charge couldn't respond. We had that 7-7 deadlock as the final blows for both teams, and since that period, 5 extra kills came through for the Valiant, none for the Charge. First round will go over towards the Valiant with, I think, roughly one-ish kind of fight, one there for the Charge. Definitely on the back foot for the majority of it. And looking towards compositions, Unique will be most likely back over towards the BAP here. Potentially even looking towards a Brig, but yeah, Brig on the line for Lynx, so will be the call to action. Marvel staying on the Doom, and Marvel so far performing up to expectations. Top fragger across both teams. Definitely the star, one of the stars of Valiant's last matchup, and proving that again.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Avo, only one death as well, and it was right at the end, towards the latter half
only one death
of that round. Put a lot of effort into getting that kill as well. Develops, building up some charge for a tasty railgun in a second. It's under pressure, Choice A1 will get the melee onto Innovation. Flux zones them out of the doorway. And they will start putting the pressure on towards the map. Choice A1 finds Molly again. Just keeping this backline under pressure. Marvel's found far away, so there is an answer here. Support for support. As Valiant seem to be in the better position. Marvel again. He's just demolishing the supports. Like, how are they supposed to do anything? They just keep losing their backline all the time from the mobility of the Charge composition. You've got Innovation and Marvel just constantly up in there.
This is where you might need to see Unique go something like the Ana here. I think this Yard for far away is great, but Ana would go a long way to start shutting down Marvel. I mean, Molly's even on the Ana just to support the Doomfist, right? I mean, you want to be using your nanos primarily on that Doom. They've identified, okay, well, we're just going to play around Marvel best we can. Trace it towards the left of, gosh, develop there, and, well, Innovation will dive in for the kill.
Yeah, Develop tried to enter that property without a warrant and was met with fierce resistance. Just could not find a way in there and just got ambushed by the lurking members of Charge. And Rio will go as well. Just burns more time as Charge just have not found a footing in this round.
Yeah, this is very similar to what we saw in Gardens, right? I mean, just a slow start for the Charge. They don't quite have the ultimates either. Develop under a lot of pressure. Again, this side will survive, at least for now. Marvel already has the first ultimate of this game ahead of both the Tracer players. Choice one finally getting towards that Pulse Bomb. You need to start seeing this Pulse Bomb being pressured on top of Marvel as well.
Spray down there, Railgun onto Easy Harm. They need Develop online. That was the turning point in Gardens when they got the overclock available for them. It was the picks that were more important as Far Away finds Molly. That's both supports down for the Valiant. This is the opportunity for the Charge to get the flip, and it's happening much earlier than it did on Gardens, and hopefully will bode well for them in this round as the spray down continues from Choi, but it's Far Away who's dominating the kill feed right now as they will secure Marvel. That is a lot of ultimates for Valiant to clap back with.
Certainly a lot of kills for Far Away as well. You know, both support ultimates now will be up. Extra window being deployed by Unique, and Develop's turn to maybe potentially look towards that overclock. Not just yet in this fight.
Doesn't need it.
Body shot straight through the window as well for a 260. That's what you want to see.
Charged up. Ooh, a little bit of a knockback there. Up into the sky. Easy Harm taken out. Doesn't need to be headshots at this point. Low enough to just have the body shot. But Valiant, they only use the Pulse Bomb there. They're keeping it quite light for the time being and haven't used any of those ultimates. But with the Valiant, with Charge pushing up so aggressively, you saw Innovation go for a cheeky swap to Widow, see if they could get a pick outside of the spawn room before going back to the Tracer.
Yeah.
You need about 26% ult charge. There's not a huge sacrifice to make.
Well, that's the thing, right? Innovation had already used the Pulse Bomb anyway, so he was already in a position where he had expended ultimate, rebuilding for a new one. Speaking of ultimates being used, Nana onto Marvel, just to gain them entry. Give Far Away. I mean, Far Away's been a pretty big carry so far. That's going to be the trans forced out.
Stick onto Molly in the back line, though. Didn't have that defensive ultimate to help them out. No one has the Transcendence available. Rio just on the point, rolls back. Easy Harm finds Develop. Another swing in. Good jump there from Unique to dodge the damage from the Seismic Slam. Let's hold the line for the time being as Valiant have the numbers on the point. And they can't get rid of Rio, who's just swinging around for the time being. As the Orb of Discord onto Marvel will be disrupted once more. Trying to find an entry point here, but Easy Harm finds Choi, and that's it. Valiant going to get the flip, Disruptor shot. Zones them away and allows an escape route for the Charge as they look to recontest. Rio finally going down. It's Pulse Bomb online for Innovation. I think they want to hold on to this one, though, because they're in a good spot right now.
I mean, there's just barely enough time to regroup, but maybe not anymore. Just more kills coming through. These staggers will mean everything. This could be now the 2-0 found for Valiant. Far too many members down from the Charge side. Can anyone even touch? It's not looking likely.
No, they're going to have to try and send Rio in, but they're putting a blockade up to try and stop it. But, oh, gets disrupted right at the end. No one's going to be able to touch. And that's going to be the Valiant picking up the first map of the series and going to a 1-0 scoreline.
Valiant looking good there as well. I mean, Charge did have some life to breathe in terms of being able to compete on both of those sub-maps. Had a couple of fight wins in there for the Guangzhou Charge. Had some decent frags as well. Shoutouts to Faraway for getting those. Ends up being the LA Valiant. Staying calm and collected. Had the ultimates to play through. We saw the amount of ultimates that Charge were going to blow in just to try and maintain control, go for a semi-spawn camp, not pushing too far forward, and LA Valiant holding onto those ultimates, coming back in a big way. Marvel receiving the nano, opening the door for the point again, and then winning the fight the Valiant way that you'd expect, off the back of some easy harm damage as well, who wasn't even really on the high ground as the Ash, but did well enough on the low ground, wasn't under pressure, got the kills required.
Yeah, there wasn't much verticality going on in that map at all. It was very much just a ground skirmish from both teams, but that's going to be Valiant picking up the first map. They've already matched the scoreline from the last time these two teams faced off in Week 3. It's all up from here for the Valiant as we go for the break. When we come back, we'll have Midtown. Welcome back, everyone. We're in the middle of Charge versus the Valiant. And Valiant have picked up their first map in quite a convincing fashion on Oasis. We're looking ahead towards the series, and we're moving over to Midtown next. Avril, fantastic performance from Marvel in particular there. Felt like he was able to do pretty much anything he wanted to do on Oasis. Rarely challenged and often dealing huge damages to the back line of the Charge in that previous map.
Which is, I think, a great turnaround as well, because if we go back to the Fusion game that Marvel debuted on, was also Oasis. I believe we also played the same rounds on Oasis as well. It was Gardens and City Center, and Marvel didn't look too good on those particular maps. I mean, it could have been that Fusion did a better job of shutting them down, could have just been first game jitters or lack of practice and lack of synergy with the team, being it was their first game together with a couple of new members. But by the time we got to the end of the Fusion matchup, Marvel looks fantastic. Now we get into the Charge matchup, and he's maintained that sort of momentum from beating the Fusion and on the map as well that he didn't look very good on. So I think that's the biggest turnaround, where he looks as good as he was versus Fusion, and even still on the map that he wasn't great on. So that's a huge boon for the Valiant to work through, and for the Charge, nothing's really changed for them so far. Still kind of struggling. I say nothing's changed, but they'll at least have one substitution.
Yeah, we did notice that one coming in as well. It looks like we got Krong coming in for Rio. So that tank position is going to have a quick little change up. It's Krong's time to try and match the pace of Marvel. Although it isn't necessarily a tank versus tank problem that we're facing right now. It is definitely how do you keep your backline alive when Marvel's diving in it. Go on, please tell us what the problem is, Avril.
If Farway goes blonde as well, I think they've done it.
Oh, that's it. They're just not having the color coordination.
It's just not there. It's so close. It's so close, but it's just not quite there. I don't think he didn't get the email about the team uniform.
Yep.
And I think that's just that slight lack of cohesion, even out of game that you got to work on. Everything counts.
You've got their address, right? You could just send them a color, send them a ball of dye. They can do it themselves, right?
Who's sending who what now? Sorry.
No, you've got their address. You could send them some hair dye. Yeah, you've got the address.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll hit up Mr. Charge.
Yep.
Dear Mr. Guangzhou Charge, please accept this bottle of hair dye. Enjoy.
We feel it will help out with your gameplay.
and also some bleach, not for your eyes, for the hair, obviously, because you have to lighten the hair. Don't get me wrong, you know. Don't try to think it was used for something else there. But here we go, Midtown. For the Guangzhou Charge, we look towards Krong being in. The obvious thing you have to point towards is the Sigma. So sharing playtime with Rio. The two main things here for the Charge, we're looking at the Rio Ball and the Krong Sigma. Neither of those things really worked out for them yesterday. And this was also, you know, in terms of historical context, the one match that the Charge have won so far. Their record is, what, 1-6, I believe? And that one is the win versus Valiant from Stage 1 in Kickoff Clash.
Yeah, 3-1 scoreline. You go all the way back to week number 3. Valiant have already matched the previous score. Charge have a long way to go to match their previous scoreline, I'll tell you that, friend. But they're setting up on high ground. Marvel penetrating the back line already. As Easy Han looks to take over the train cart, get some high ground, and start raining down these shots. Fully charged, ready for a railgun shot. Probably wants to chip away at someone before pushing the right click and getting that down to business. But Develop then finds the shot on Innovation. So we're missing a Tracer, and that's a great entry point for the Charge to be able to shut down this push from the Valiant.
That's what you want to see out of Develop, right? Who his Sojourn performance has looked kind of average so far. That's probably, you know, the generous way of putting it. Just in terms of when you see what everyone else is doing, the kind of output they're having, especially when Charge were playing up against Spark yesterday in the Showdown. Shy on that Sojourn, outclassing Develop. Now he's got a bit of an opportunity where Easy Han is also on the Sojourn instead of the Ash. Will get taken down early, so another first frag got in the way of the Guangzhou Charge. Hopefully we'll be able to use that to contain and maintain control versus Valley. Yeah, they'll get the cleanup.
Yeah, that's just so tasty from the Charge, just killing all the pace from the Valiant. Going for another reset. Marvel on life support still escapes again. That's very reminiscent of Oasis so far. But no support's up just yet, but he definitely wants to donate the Charge rather than going back over to spawn room to get a top up.
He's the only player that hasn't died yet, Marvel. He's the only one of the Valiant that hasn't actually gone down yet so far on this attack. Pretty hard guy to kill, even when we look back on Oasis, right? He was able to get out with his life more than a few times. So what is the opening call here for the Valiant? Is it to put the pressure onto Krong, who's actually nearly on that flux as well? So a lot of ultimates coming online very soon for the Guangzhou Charge, and Marvel's just getting chunked down.
Still alive, though. Has the Immortality field for a second. Bit of a panic there from Molly, I think. Not trusting the immortality of his main tank. Easyhan will go down. Far away, getting these frags on the Zenyatta consistently, and that's enough to take down Marvel finally. A rock, a Discord, and a railgun shot from Develop will do the trick. And this is night and day from what we saw from the Valiant on Oasis in terms of dominance.
Well, it's really Valiant struggling to get past the poke damage coming through from the charge lineup where nearly 5 ultimates online. They won that last fight. In fact, they've won every single fight without spending ultimates so far, which is great to see. Big turnaround from the Guangzhou charge. Kron coming in for the Sigma, and they just completely poke out Valiant. We talk about Marvel not going down, maybe struggling to get him killed, but brilliant. They finally get that kill into Marvel. So, exactly what you want to see. Immortality field burned, window burned as well, and yet the Guangzhou charge will still find the damage to get the kills.
And they're about to get all the ults online. There's the flux coming in from Krong. He's gone up to the sky, far away, takes out Innovation. There's the Meteor Strike for the reset. Marvel is backing away from that fight as well, and he's just out. He's dipped out, he's escaped, all gone. And there's this nice slowdown here from the Valiant. They're going to push back in again. Choice-A1 needs to stay out of the Disruptor shot. There's the overclock in a corridor. That's not where you want to be with the railgun. Scouring to escape there, and it's only Lengzi will get picked up by Krong. With 35 seconds remaining, Avril, this doesn't look good for the Valiant to be able to get a single bit of percentage on the map. They might get full held here.
I mean, that was a moment, right? You see the overclock coming through in the alleyway. Rats are scurrying through. I know we're in New York. You know, there's certainly quite a few rats in New York is what I'm talking about here. But like you said, 30 seconds remaining now, down to 20. LA Valiant is struggling to even get on the point here. They're playing this dive composition, but struggling to get past any of the poke. Seems like they can't make a dive actually happen on the backline at all, and now the ultimate's coming through.
Oh, they can actually. He just dismantled Unique. This is it. Overclock is being used as well. Lengzi gets taken out there by a Storm Arrow. Develop drops Easyhan. Couldn't find value with the Overclock because of the Transcendence. They got Marvel Innovation on the point. Dragon Strike's going to cut through. Now they're going to respond to them. They did get a lot of percentage here. This might be a huge turn for the Valiant, because if they get that percentage on the board and they're able to get some defense on the go, it might be enough, but they've got a lot of work to do here to keep the charge from matching that 70%.
It's important they get the 70% because it could have been a lot worse than that. So as you sort of say there, you know, the Valiant keeping some hope alive, but it's going to have to all end on A. No B or C play whatsoever here. Brilliant stuff by the Guangzhou Charge. That's the most alive that we've seen them so far this stage, and for most of the previous stage as well. Seems like the one team that they always have some sort of chance of beating is going to be the LA Valiant. That even extends to their general sort of all-time record against each other, 4-1. Guangzhou charged 5 total games. Guangzhou have won 4 of them. Valiant have only won the one time. That was in 2019 as well. So the Valiant, you know, this will be the first win against Charge for the organization for the better part of 3 years almost, if it does happen tonight. But certainly going to make Valiant work for it in the terms of how this map has gone so far. Playing this poke composition masterfully.
Is this warm-up? Was that aim warm-up there for Easyhan? Yeah, I think they basically called him away. They were like, you need to get in position now, bud. I'm sorry. You've not got enough time for this.
It's got like 18 seconds, you know. That being said, there's a few other little sewer grate kind of thingies.
Yeah.
What's that thing called? The pizza top?
Is it called a pizza top? It's a.
It's not. I made that up. It's
a manhole cover. Manhole cover.
Yeah, it's a manhole cover. Yeah, I don't speak English. That's what the problem is. Yeah, there's a few more manhole covers on A that he could have probably worked with. So here we go. Choice 1 back over towards Hanzo. They know what their win conditions are. It's a poke composition on the defensive side as well. But the problem here is they're running the Tracer, which gives them more flexibility, but does mean they probably lose in the straight-up matchup. So we need to see innovation, harass the back line, force this charge lineup to turn around so it's just not this front loaded damage straight into Marvel's shield.
Innovation's a little bit too low to play that riskier game on the back line. Disappears off to the safety of his team. Choice-A1 checking the angles to make sure there's no drop, and Easyhan's been found by Develop. Oh, no, no, no. It's their time to poke, and it's their time to dismantle the Valiant. Molly, very isolated here on the point, but he still gets Choice-A1. Probably not what they wanted to see there right at the end. But this is it. Charge just going to roll on through. Any contest coming out here. No one's going to be able to touch. And that's it. Charge get away with the map win and tie out the series.
Wow.
Very fast from Midtown. And you take it because it's a huge momentum killer.
It's a 180 turnaround on both ends. It's not even just, we're not even just talking about the Charge here, not even just really even talking about the Valiant. It's kind of both sides, right? You have Charge turning their game around, not just from Oasis, but even from yesterday's performance, which was more than lackluster, the LA Valiant as well. From what we saw into Oasis to what we just got here, that doesn't look right to me. And to end things with, and you know, I'll have a fun fact for you here, Tread. Only 2 final blows total for the LA Valiant. That entire map. Just 2. One on Marvel, one on Molly, and Molly only just got that one at the end. So, yikes, that one's going to hurt for a while.
That's going to sting indeed. They're probably going to have to put something on that wound to tidy it up. We're going to go to a quick break while they go to the first aid room, Avril. When we come back, we're looking towards Watchpoint Gibraltar. Welcome back, everyone. It's tied series between the Valiant and the Charge, and we saw a complete 180 on what we saw on Oasis. It looked like Midtown was a completely different series with just how dominant it was from the charge. Avril, I'm still trying to process what happened there.
A lot of things for the charge, not a lot for the Valiant side.
Yeah.
I have to kind of focus on one player that I think started to impress a lot more, who I think justifiably got a lot of flack in previous maps and matches. That's Develop, obviously, specifically on the Sojin, didn't look that good versus Shy. I teed that point up in the middle of the game, but as we got through that, you got a number of first players, a lot of impactful kills, plenty of rails hit as well. Went deathless. Obviously, only 2 people actually died on the charge, was Choice of 1 and Unique. Krong, Develop, and Faraway all went deathless on that particular map, but Develop's ability just to get a lot of those 5v4s, or rather enable those 5v4s, I think helped out the charge a lot, as well as Krong just coming in, stable force in the front line, shields up with the Sigma, and holding things strong. So, see how things go now as we head into Watchpoint Gibraltar. Dia coming in to play the Widowmaker. This was the big turnaround point for the LA Valiant versus Fusion the last time that we had the Valiant game, which was just a couple days ago. They were down 2 maps. It was looking like it was going to be probably a 3-0. And then Dia decided on the Widowmaker, it's time to win.
Oh, they just decided, did they? They were like, yep, winning time.
They did.
And you know what? This map's actually a really good... well, the format's quite good for the Valiant, I feel, here, because if you look at their all-time record against the Charge, they are 3-0 in escort maps against the Charge. They have never lost an escort map to this organization in the history of the Overwatch League. Not a massive sample size, I'll be honest with you. It's only 3, no, but still worth noting, they typically perform quite well.
And I think this is going to be Valiant's strength as well in terms of the specific heroes and players on those heroes. Like I already mentioned, Dia's Widowmaker, not to be scoffed at all. That was the prime driver for their comeback on that reverse sweep. It seems like EasyHind might even be looking towards that Widowmaker here as well. To be fair, both of them can play it. The fact that Dia's going to be the one on the Ashe, EasyHind on the Widow is interesting, because I would have figured it was the other way around. EasyHind has been playing a lot of Ashe, even opts to play the Ashe over the Sojin in many cases. We already talked about Dia's Widowmaker capability, but they've decided to swap it up, keep it fresh, Develop starting things out on the Sojin. Notably, as I mentioned in yesterday's cast versus the Hangzhou Spark, Develop's best hero still is the Widowmaker. So if he does want to go for a Widowmaker duel, this would be the map to do it. This would be the matchup to do it as well. But so far, just opting for the Sojin.
5, 4, 3.
I wonder where Choi's going to send him on the teleporter. He's got that for the Symmetra. There you go, just going to get Krong over to the side, get a nice little flank and apply pressure. Make sure they can't really just sit up on that bridge, and it's a good start for the charge to take the space. Choi going over to the Genji as well, so we're going to see them whip that out and pressure, I imagine, Dia and EasyHind.
The primary role of the Genji, at least for the first phase, this is actually just to push the payload, so you won't see Choice One joining in the fight or doing anything significant for a while. And we'll come down to somebody from the Los Angeles Valiant as well, controlling, or at least contesting that payload. Ideally, it should be probably EasyHind going down, but with Dia being taken down by Faraway now, EasyHind has to kind of do the work of both hit scans.
Storming over them. They've just taken all the space, taken control of it. I don't think anyone went to bother with Choice One. Like you said, the payload was just in motion. EasyHind answers back onto Unique in the chaos. Oh, Lenza finds Krong as well, so the Valiant have woken up, and they're not just going to keel over the pressure of the charge, but they are going to have to come back from the spawn to start contesting this one.
Well, you see where the payload is there, and Choice One just gets to the top of the hill, backs out, waiting for the ball respawners. And the big difference now is Charge get to play as 5. So now the payload's in the position that they want to, Choi can join the fight. He can actually pressure the back line as he's meant to. So EasyHind playing the extremities of the distance here. And ideally, Dia's on a separate angle so that both your hit scans, both your snipers, aren't just covering the same angles. You are looking different areas. And as I say that, it looks like
they're both from the same angle.
That's a little bit unfortunate, as I mentioned it. A little bit unfortunate.
Hey, sometimes that happens. Stop the shot behind the shield. Flux being triggered here from Marvel. Faraway's the one to get slammed. Dodges out the accretion. Dia will deal with Choice One, so not the pressure they were looking for from the charge. They're trapped in the corner, but this Transcendence is going to provide a lot of value for them as a confirmed. Develop will take Marvel out. There's Krong finding Lenza. That's the charge still holding strong for now as Dia just gets a right click. Faraway has just been absolutely demolishing people this series, by the way. I just want to point out.
100%. And just something else as well. Molly came from this team. Faraway came in, signed to the roster after the Chengdu Hunters imploded their roster in the offseason. Molly was meant to be the starter as a flex support here. Faraway comes in, immediately benches Molly on this team. Guangzhou Charge had no interest in playing Molly. released him or traded him to LA Valiant, so Molly plays against his ex-team, and Farway is the one currently outplaying Molly.
There's the rally sitting on top of it. Molly just tucked in that corner, using the Transcendence to re-emerge with the Valiant and contest this payload. Bob joins the fray, the sixth man. I was about to say seventh there, but that's Overwatch 1. Farway takes Bob out. Easy Han deals with Choi Si-wan, who's not really had much value on the Genji so far. Nice railgun shot there. Takes Easy Han's head. We're using the overclock to get repeat shots. Molly in the sight lines. Going to throw out a disruptor shot. Forces an angle change, but going to lead for Farway to pick up that kill. Less than 1 minute remaining. There's a couple of kills being traded back and forth, but Charge are very much still in control of this entire situation, even with the Flux comes in. I say that as Lensa finds Unique after it goes down. Easy Han comes in with the kills, and Marvel under the Kosh, 30 HP, but Krong will take him out. You're just looking towards Easy Han on the payload. Molly comes back around the corner. Here's the duel. Easy Han, you don't miss these. Choi with the play gets taken out immediately by Dia and the Helix Rockets. Oh, it's not a good time to be a Genji. And there's only 25 seconds remaining for Charge.
That's the thing, right? Because you develop using the overclock, didn't have the HP to push further. A lot of frags going both sides. Farway opens up to Molly. So kills his counterpart. We talk about the Zenyatta duel. Farway's been winning it. But Charge still can't cap. The Flux ends up being okay for Marvel. Dia comes in, saves it. Easy Han maintains control of the point as well. No matter which way you cut this, it's got to go to OT. Charge are looking for the cap. No. 1 for 1.
No tanks. It's going to be Molly just sitting up here with the sightlines. Dia again with the Helix Rockets. The changeover to the Soldier. The missing piece to just keep Valiant still in this game. They've locked Farway in the corner. He can't frag his way out of this one, Avril. Pulse bomb on the point finds develop. Wow. LA Valiant. They want to keep that all-time record against the Charge. And they stop them shy of point A.
And we're not going to B today. We didn't go to B on Midtown.
No
it's
Bs.
Another full hold on Gibraltar as well. I mean, who knows? Maybe we just don't go to B at all for any of our maps for the rest of the evening for this particular series. Heroics from Dia, honestly, coming back on the Soldier, which, by the way, got heavily nerfed. Realistically speaking, isn't that great in this meta. Damage down from 20 to 18. That makes a huge difference as far as breakpoints, by the way. Still, though, got the eliminations, got those final blows. Shut down Choi Si-wan, where previously, Choi Si-wan's Genji was, I wouldn't say the only strong point, but certainly the highlighted signature strong point for the Guangzhou Charge, but very minimal impact from Choi Si-wan so far, outside of pushing the initial payload. Now we get the replay of Dia fragging up a storm on the Soldier, looking like kickoff clash. I'll tell you what, they got the skills brought over from the kickoff clash, and now looking for the results during the mid-season madness as well for the Valiant.
Once again, another demonstration of sometimes comfort is king, Avril. Doesn't matter if your hero gets nerfed, you can still play it to a high level. You can find that value.
I get quite comfortable on a king size. What about you?
Comfortable on a king size?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, no, I recently upgraded, actually. I bought a new bed like a couple of months ago, and I went from double to a king.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Not reach super king levels
upgrade.
yet.
That's a significant upgrade.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Like maybe in a couple of years, next upgrade, maybe I go for the queen. Who knows? It might be a bit excessive though, actually. I know Queen's bigger than the king. Queen's bigger than the king.
Is it? Is that an UK thing? We'll find out.
It might be. I think it's American as well, to be fair.
Let me. Speaking of upgrades here, eyes on Marvel currently. Sigma is and has been historically one of his better heroes. I think mainly the Doom has been the talking point. So in this particular matchup, Krong, I would say, still has managed to mostly get the better of Marvel. Damage, statistically, would actually say Marvel slightly hit, just by a smidge, just by a little margin. But Krong has otherwise been more impactful with actually getting kills and using utility and all that kind of good stuff here. So
Dia gets to go over to the Widowmaker though this time.
Hey?
Dia gets to go over to the Widowmaker this time though, so we get to see that instead.
That's a big point.
Yeah, getting themselves set up, and no Genji this time, no double sniper actually. You're going to have both Choi and Easy Han on the Tracer to try and face off against each other. Like you said, we've migrated over to the server room already, a lot of space given. Develop going low, gets the healing they need. Krong still holding the line. He has to hold that door to stop the wave of Valiant crashing into that back corner. And Dia finds body shot. Needs one more, but the Immortality Field does come out to try and save the day as Choi finds Molly. Krong traded back, both tanks removed. And both Baps as well, even kilter for both of these teams at the moment. They're still trying to find that definitive lead in the fight.
Good to see Choice of One getting active in the kill feed there as well. It's looking pretty quiet so far on this particular map. And you'll have noticed that while we were fighting the server, I believe the two Traces were roughly dueling around the point. So it was a 4v4 in the server room, but once the payload actually got onto the high ground, both the Traces rejoined the fight and ends up being Choice of One, and with that impact on the Tracer to get those frags. So payload's actually pretty close to the end point now. Flux catches one.
Yep. Oh, he's using it to get right in the face of Far Away.
Jesus.
Nice rock there to damage. Immortality Field keeps the back line up. Lengths is coming for support as well. They need to clear that out. Marvel using the secondary ability of the Flux just to get in the face of that probably safe backline and just disrupt everything. Valiant. It's another 180, Avril. We just keep going dominance to dominance here as the Valiant pull ahead 2-1 in the series and go to match points.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a turnaround in terms of where the map ends, because it's another full hold, but just the opposite team, right? We go from Valiant winning 2-0 on Oasis to Dr. Chargeful holding Midtown, while only giving away 2 kills the entire map to the Valiant, to now the Valiant also full holding on Gibraltar. Difference being, though, I will say that Charge, despite losing this, were a lot more competitive than Valiant were losing on Midtown as a comparative point. So we did notice that Charge nearly capped A. They actually won a reasonable amount of fights, and nearly got the A cap done, but couldn't quite get it over due to heroics from Dia coming through on the Soldier towards the end there. But a well-played offense from the LA Valiant will secure it. So 2-1 Trid, competitive series.
Yeah, absolutely. And Valiant have surpassed the previous record of their scoreline set from week 3. They now are pushing towards that victory. We're going to head over to Colosseo after this quick break. Match point for the LA Valiant after their Watchpoint Gibraltar performance. We're heading over to Colosseo next. And Avril, despite us going to a map number 4, this has felt like an incredibly fast series, and it has a lot to do with the full holds we've just gone through in map number 2 and 3.
And now we're going to get probably the longest map because it's 10 minutes of push now. For those that have
How'd you feel about that one,
tuned
Avril?
in here and you know, you're used to the 8 minutes of kickoff flash. Nope, it's 10 minutes now in Midseason Madness, and we're probably going to see the full 10 minutes as well because it's still just as unlikely for a team to get that cap, unless you're the Valiant versus Fusion. Apparently on New Queen Street, where they did in fact cap. But that will be another one of those moments that Fusion would like to forget and Valiant are happy to have in their memory banks, and they would like to repeat that push performance now versus the Charge. If they can finish the entire map, that would be brilliant. However, Colosseo is the more difficult of the 2 push maps to actually get a finish on. In fact, I don't think we've seen any finishes on Colosseo. Am I wrong? I don't think we've seen a single completion on Colosseo across either region this entire season. We've seen a couple now in New Queen Street, but 0 on Colosseo if I'm not mistaken. Get some stats confirmation on that at some other point. I'll ask.
We'll message the boys. We'll get the boys on the bell
right now. I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
Them, but,
we'll message the boys, see what they have to say. Probably during the North American broadcast later. Yeah.
Drop the message in the group chat.
But no, it'll be interesting to find out whether we have actually had a completion on Colosseo yet. Getting everything set up.
It's not easy.
Now.
It's not
easy. Not easy on push at all.
The checkpoint. That's what do you like to call that checkpoint area with the ramps? It's like a bit of a spiral.
Yeah,
Maybe it's fine.
It's like a stair, it's like one of those spiral staircases without the steps.
Yeah.
You know, God, there probably is like an actual technical term.
I call it the king size because it's got the same length as a queen, but it's just a little bit wider. A little bit wider. What do you reckon?
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I learned a lot today, and with my newfound knowledge, Avril, I concur with that assessment. Actually, you know, I concur. Right, they're running out onto the field. Let's take a look at the lineups. It looks like Dia's going to head over to the Hanzo. Choice A1 will hit up the Tracer. And another flex in the backlines as well as Lengsa goes towards the Brigitte and Unique stays on the back.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually okay with the Brig pickup here, but you do have to get quite aggressive. I mean, similar arguments I made in terms of analyzing how Chengdu played a similar comp yesterday. That being said, though, Dia has a little bit more of the... He's just got the frags, he takes out far away straight away. He's got the poke I was going to mention. And certainly, charge field poke by that.
It's more than a poke, my friend. You've just lost your Zenyatta. A little bit of a stretch to get them back. Dia goes on the hunt using the wall climb, finds the second support of this skirmish. No immortality field to help. Dia will just miss out on getting those shots on Develop, who slides on out. And the first push is going towards the Valiant.
Seems like we'll see how much distance they get as well. It's the couple members on there with the rest of the Valiant getting a little bit more aggressive, led by Marvel, the Sigma, straight up the stairs. They want to just keep the charge contained for as long as possible there. Great shield usage by Krong to block out that accretion, which otherwise probably would have hit Develop.
No one's really stopped the momentum for the time being. Choi harassing the back as Farway will find Lengsa. Just keep on the harassment. Disruptor shot actually taking out Unique. That's probably a great answer to the immortality field because surely it chips away at the field and then you also just have the ticking health as well. D answers back and yeah, finally, you're going to get the charge pushing the payload in the other direction.
Yeah, for sure, and that will be Charge having high ground control as well, understanding that you can actually flex numbers advantages while one or two members of the Valiant are actually pushing the payload. Valiant actually don't really want to have 2 members pushing payload if possible because for the people that don't know this, but payload on push maps doesn't scale off members, so whether it's 1 person or 5 people, the payload goes the same speed. So if you're going to be the Valiant here, you can maybe put Dia on there and everyone else can move forward. In either case, talking about Dia, he got the opening frag on the previous fight. Sonic out for the information.
So the Dragon Strike available as well. Charge want to commit to this instead of less likely to be around the payload itself, but going to cut that through. Clears a lot of space. It's more decorative than anything right now. Choice one has the pulse bomb, throws it in close proximity. No one falls victim to that one.
Flux.
It's going to be playing behind that Amp Matrix as well, trying to fight the damage, but the shields are good for the time being. Marvel uses the Flux, gets Unique up into the sky. Immortality field to catch them as they also use it to reposition to relative safety. has to keep the angles because Choi is still lingering. There's the Transcendence from far away. Gonna use it to push forward as they finally take down Marvel. The rally wasn't enough to keep him up. Dia will find Faraway off the back of the Transcendence. Still 2 supports available for the Valiant. They're now taking the fight back into it. Disruptor shot in the middle of everything. Easy Harm developer to finding the kills on the back line. Dia comes in to tip the scales. But it's the Valiant holding strong as they will return the push.
You know, there's few members going down there. Importantly, the supports were dead, so if you were the charge, just running in and making sure that if you are going to lose the fight, go for as many traits as possible to slow down the push. Valiant are forced to play defensively and wait for respawns. And look at this, they've already stopped pushing the payload, at least slightly, because they know they can't do it unless their full team is there. So this game mode, unlike others, Tread, where it's probably better to not stagger yourself and play aggressively when you're losing. On push, you do want to play aggressively when you're losing because you're going to force the other team who wins to play defensively to wait for respawns.
Dio go up and over. There's the scouting arrow at Matrix. No one showed themselves, just pumping a storm arrow into the pillar. As Dragon Strike actually turns it at the last second to see they can cut off the rotation from the back line of the charge as Krong finds Marvel, and they go to charge. Not being faulted by the use of ultimates there. He will find a couple of kills. There's nothing here. He has to step back into the Disruptor shot, and that's a team kill for the charge as they look to try and match the push distance.
They're pretty much all alive here as well, which is great because they can now keep pushing through. Yeah, everyone's up so far. Charge doing a great job of just keeping the LOS off the window covered. Here comes a Flux now. 2 members. And one of them will die straight away. Dia doesn't even get saved by the Immortality because he was so high in the air.
Oh, that's rough. It's not what you want to see as Krong finds Lengzer as well. Krong again dominating the kill feed. They find Marvel on the hunt, but Easy Hunt turns it around with the railgun. You only get 1 shot with those if you don't have the overclock. And you missed it, buddy. Easy Han doesn't miss those.
That's significant because, like I said, you know, just even the 1 member going down can be a big turnaround. Speaking of turnarounds, going to in charge now. With 5 minutes still remaining, so half the game clock gone now officially. They overtake the distance that the Valiant have had. Not that it was a huge amount of distance, but you definitely want to be the team leading as we get closer towards the OT. 50% mark gone. Overclock both available on both of our teams. So Dia Widowmaker, that's a little bit different though. He goes towards the Widowmaker out of spawn because you might be able to get some shots on, but he stays on the Widowmaker, and now it might be a little bit hard to play this.
Body shot onto Choi. Needs to find the head if he wants to clean him off in one go. Keeps going to rely on it, but there's the overclock from the Vela. Dia wasn't looking in the right direction for that one. Easy Han answers back with an overclock of their own. Far away goes down. Develop sitting in the Immortality field as Krong finds that kill onto Easy Han. Both the Sigmas taking control of this one as Krong finds Molly. Disruptor shot and Lengza will be the bane of his existence. Still incredibly staggered. Lengza just trapped in this corner, playing around the pillar, but Choi comes in with the sweep. Push bot is still not making the progress Valiant needs right now. Choi's just going to sit here with the pulse bomb, I feel. If anyone steps up, he's just going to try and go for the connection and stick and get another stagger.
And Dia's now back over towards the Hanzo. I feel like it definitely was a mistake to come out of the Widowmaker, right? He was just distracted by the Trace, so Choice won the entire time. Sniped out immediately by the Overclock coming through from Develop.
Oh my god.
The snipe will go the opposite side. The Hanzo just a lot better at that mid-range. Will take down Choice of One a lot easier than he would have had to playing the Widowmaker. On the flank now.
Yeah, it's really difficult for Krong to be able to defend against both of these angles. Tries to put it at a slight angle there to keep him up. Transcendence being used early by Faraway. That's both support ultimates thrown into the mix by the charge. We've only found the Immortality field so far. And Dia again takes out Faraway. They didn't really check that angle. Was able to come back in. Choi with that pulse bomb finds Easy Han. Needs to find another shot. Dia.
Nice.
And there you go. Nice melee after a body shot should do it. He's got all the information. Going to go up and over onto the back line. Turns his attention immediately to Unique. Gets him with the Storm Arrow. Dia running circles around the charge right now and forcing him all the way back. And that's enough for the Valiant to be able to take the lead in the map with 2:40 to go.
Yeah, so we've halved our time pretty much again. Dia with another frag. How many is that so far? It's like 4 in this fight alone. It's a bit of an extended fight. We've had already 5 frags coming through from the Valiant. More respawners from the charge now to try and defend. Cap should be underway. In fact, the cap has been secured. Extra distance gained, 70 plus in the meter edge. Got to put the pressure on the charge if they have any hope to turn this one around and cap themselves. And the deeper we go, the harder it gets. Because we're uphill now.
going to be huge for them. They're going to have to break through this flux on Marvel as well. Kron's about to get theirs online to potentially try and level it out. Choi moving over to the Genji, not having much luck on the Tracer. But there's that flux being thrown in from Kron. Actually beat Marvel to the punch. Marvel stunned up at the moment. Discord Orb's there. Choi will cut through them. Okay, so you've won the fight, basically. Someone needs to go in there and get that payload. 3 of them are on it, Avril. They don't need to be there. Come on! Look at that! EasyHan finds that kill. And Valiant will return back to the payload. Choi is still alive, getting these kills and just playing cleanup duty for his team right now. But he's by himself until Kron comes out of the thing. Oh my goodness, EasyHan finally will take out Choi Zaewon. You said 108 meters here, and like you said, Avril, it's so much harder now we've reached this amount of distance to actually make progress on the side of the charge. They may not even be able to try and meet this and even surpass it.
Well, there's just no time. It's less than 120 remaining. You just have to get past all the ultimates. You wonder why Valiant don't commit harder on that fight. Well, A, they're losing. B, they're getting free distance. And C, I mean, they just have to play to defend now. They don't have to push any further. Their goal is not to finish the map. The goal is to maximize distance and now defend for the rest of the time remaining. And they have the ultimates to play through. They might have lost here, but they have still got ultimates to play. Valiant's already on. Here comes the flux.
Yeah, Develop gets caught in that one right on the edge. Manages to slide on out. Doesn't get hit by the slam side of it as EasyHan finds Farway. Both Immortality Fields traded out. Valiant have taken control of the payload while this was going on. Just delaying the charge even more. They're dominating the kill feed as well. We've got both damage ultimates available on this next push. And we're looking towards Choi's Blade to try and break the stronghold that Valiant have set up.
It's going to need to be more than that because Valiant still have more ultimates to play through. They're pushing the payload distance to reset it all the way back inside Guangzhou Charge territory. Again, their goal is not to finish the map, so once they push the payload back to where it was at about 108, they can basically just chill there. In fact, they can just chill now. They don't have to move the payload at all.
Blade finds Dia. That's one damage dealer down. Dragon Strike goes up into the sky. Has to take out the Immortality Field. Will find Molly afterwards. Gets a reset into the face of Lengsa, who will deal with Choi Se-wan. The Transcendence will stagger out the fight, but overtime's begun, and it's still in charge territory, Avril. They're not going to be able to win this map at this point. And it looks like the Valiant are on the cusp of turning the series around, flipping the script, and securing a win against the Guangzhou Charge. Because right now, you can push that back in overtime, but they are not going to be able to make that distance.
Don't get baited by the fact that Develop looked really good getting those 3 kills here. It doesn't matter because Valiant know they have the distance advantage here. Charge would have to win something like 4 to 5 fights in a row during the OT, and they would have to do it flawlessly without dropping any members. All Valiant have to do is throw numbers at the payload, throw bodies on the payload, kill anybody you can, any frags, any trades count. They just got to get some number of kills, and Charge would lose just from not having numbers.
Yeah, it's not about charge kills, it's about the charge deaths. Keep them low, keep it going. Choi and Krong, they're powering through at the moment. I'm not going to curse this one. I'm touching all the wood right now, Avril, but that's the fight number 1
this is still
4.
Valiant. Still Valiant. Look at the ultimates online. All it needs to be is pop all 3 ultimates. Unique can't respond. Like I said, it comes down to any kills for the Valiant. That's what you're paying attention towards. They've won, what, 2 out of maybe 4 fights, so 2 more to go here. Now the hard push starts. Okay, they reset the payload back towards actually getting a checkpoint. Now you got to push. Here comes Marvel.
There's the Flux. Both of them behind the terrain of the map, though, so they are able to try and mitigate that a little bit. Nice flanking route from the Valiant to get control of the payload itself and find a flank rather than dealing behind the shield of Krong, who has to reposition. But Krong's going down. That's it. You talked about the death line, Avril. They're starting to spike back up again. They found Farway on the backside. Choi Se-wan cannot make the difference here. It was always going to be a challenge, unlikely, close to impossible. Valiant did enough earlier in the map. They take it, and they will secure a win in the series and beat out the Guangzhou Charge.
Yeah, I think once you started to see Valiant get the cap itself, push over towards the 80 mark, the 80 meter mark, it was not, to me, not 100% over, but maybe like 80% over there. But once you see the Valiant get beyond that, there was about another 18 to 20 minutes worth of free pushing to get from, what, 80 to 90 to the end point of 108. I even said 100 would have been pretty disastrous. 108, forget about it. At that point, it's about 110. You might as well round it up. But the numbers don't even make a difference anymore. And for the Guangzhou Charge, time works against them as well. I mean, look, we have added 2 more minutes to the game mode, but it ends up being the Valiant using the 2 extra minutes to get further distance. And the Charge, it didn't really help them at the end of the day. They had to overspend just to take control of the payload. So yeah, Develop looked good, getting those 3 overclock kills, but he had to spend an overclock just to regain control of the payload. That wasn't even the important fight. The next 3 to 4 to 5 fights are the important fights, and they would have to win those without losing anybody. You see Krong die, it's over, done.
Yeah. You lose your tank of all people as well, the person who you expect to be holding that line, especially against that long-range poke damage that's coming out from a lot of the members of the Valiant. But yeah, that's going to be Colosseo going the way. Still, we'll get an update on the stats when we can, Avril, but no one's been able to complete Colosseo. And as you kept saying during the map, Valiant didn't need to. They were able to just go ahead and hold that defense, and it doesn't surprise me. I've just been fed some great info, Avril, based especially earlier on in the series as well. I feel like they really made a difference. Our player of the match for this series is going to be Marvel.
I think deservedly so, because Marvel was not only dominant on the Doomfist as we expect, but coming through on the Sigma as well. A really underrated pick, and this is, I think, almost a perfect game for Marvel. I'm not talking about this particular match, but I just mean Overwatch 2, where he was already a player in Overwatch 1 that was flexing between the traditional main tank and off-tank roles, which for any tank player now in Overwatch 2 means you are super flexible. I mean, look at this play, by the way. We're talking about this one off the screen, but using the flux, catches Krong, and then just flies into the face of the supports, backed up by the rest of his team. And, you know, Marvel carried the team through on Oasis, held the zone versus Krong on all of the rest of the maps. Maybe struggled a little bit on Midtown. Midtown, I think, is the one outlier for the LA Valiant. The rest of the maps looked far more dominant and far more competitive at the minimum for the side of the LA Valiant. And where you can play a Sigma that can rival Krong, who has historically been one of our better Sigmas that we've had in the league, that speaks really well to Marvel's capability.
I want to know how that damage distribution from Marvel still played out, because I know at times in that series, Marvel was leading his team on damage dealt as well on the Sigma. It'll be interesting to see what the final lay of the land was when it comes back. Oh, come on, hit me with the stats.
He did half of that damage on the last map of Colosseo, and it was 28% of his team's total damage, which is 2% higher than Easy Hunt, the next player. So he did more damage than everybody else on the team on this Sigma, which is a lot.
So there you have it, dominant performance from Marvel, and no doubt that's probably part of the decision that was made there to give them player of the match when you're putting up numbers like that. But Charge still struggling. I know we have to kind of bring it back to where we're at with the standings, Avril. We talked about the impossibilities of both of these teams still being able to qualify for the main event. I think with that loss, like mathematically, I don't think the Charge can actually get themselves down the line to reaching the main event anymore.
I have to get confirmation that they're at 1-7. I think at this stage, if they win 4 more games at 5-7, and then I suppose if Philadelphia Fusion just keep losing, then maybe. But, I mean, yeah, here it is now, 1-7 with only 1 point. They are... Fusion should be on more. Fusion should be on 5 points, because the points do count. The points from the actual Kickoff Clash tournament do count. So it's not 3; they're on 5. So Charge would have to get minimum 4 points to at least catch up to Fusion, and then have a better map record as well. So technically speaking, if Fusion just go like 0-6 this qualifier, then I guess it is possible. But it requires Fusion to go 0-6.
Depends what type of Fusion fan you are right now as to whether you believe that could happen. Some of them aren't having the best time, but of course,
you're either like it's never going to happen, or like it's definitely happening. There's nothing in between.
It depends on which side of the bad Pachamari index you sit on, of wherever you are as a Fusion fan. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have some highlights from that last series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Does it not burn you anymore? Welcome back to the Mid-Season Madness qualifiers. The LA Valiant have just mirrored the scoreline they had against the Charge when they faced off in week number 3. 3-1. I was joking about it in the break. It was 4 maps. It kind of felt like 3 because we had a lot of full holds in that series, particularly maps number 2 and 3. If you're just coming back as well for the first time, Marvel got player of the match. Absolutely fantastic performance on this Doomfist once again from them. We're taking a look at some highlights from Oasis, and this was definitely where you felt that dominance in the series early on from him.
And credit to No Hill for having an eye out to say, like, all right, well, Boston isn't using this guy. He's on the free market. He's available in the APAC region. Pick him up. My only question now is that, you know, what happens when his 30-day contract runs out? Because he's only here for 30 days. He's only here for a month. And he's so good for this team that they got to keep him for longer. So, you know, what happens when the 30 days are up? Do they just crowdfund him again?
Imagine if the 30 days expires and Valiant, oh my god, did you just see that? The flick there catches Dia right at the cusp of it. Oh, he just shoots the ground and Dia gets ragdolled up into the sky. Thank you so much, observers and production, for that one.
It's like Marvel's like a subscription, isn't it? It's like a premium subscription to winning. So it's like, you know, how long do you want to keep your premium subscription going for? It's like, well, you know, we're still winning, so, you know, I might as well just resub for another 30 days, know what I'm saying? So
what if
kind of what it is for the Valiant so far.
What if it's the free trial, right? What if it's the 30 days free and No Hill?
Marvel's definitely not there for free. I get
No.
They wish they got it for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like the free trial, right? Where like the second you sign up for it, the No Hill's just like, okay, I'm gonna cancel the subscription right away, even before the full duration has gone, and then he's like panicking, going, oh no, I didn't mean to cancel it. Jesus, I gotta resubscribe somehow.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Hacker's already there for free, so you can't have too many people there for pre-trade. Just putting that out there. So, yeah, Marvel, no, he's got his 30 days locked up. And at this rate, they're going to need to... They better start outsourcing now. They better put up that... what is it? GoFundMe or whatever up to be like, yo, guys, you know, it's a little early, but we need to start getting some dollars in to keep Marvel around because we're winning, we're looking good. Fun fact, Valiant are now equal in points and score line for the season with the Chengdu Hunters. 3-5, both the teams, with 3 points each. So there is a race happening. There is a really serious race happening where... Both of these... In fact, everyone's on 3-5. Fusion's also on 3-5, but they got 2 more points.
I told you.
Because of the fact that they went to the finals to kick-off Clash. And I did work this out mathematically.
Yeah.
Charge, the reason why they're not mathematically out is because if they go 4 wins in a row now from here on outwards, which doesn't sound really possible, but we'll hypothesize it, and Fusion goes 0-6, then technically Charge catch up by 4 points to match the 5 of the Fusion. That would be the only way Charge should catch up. So it's not looking good. But mathematically, it's possible.
You don't have to be faster than the pack of lions, Avril. You just have to be faster than the slowest person. And
the problem is that Charge are the slowest right now. That's the problem.
Hopefully they can get some cardio in on the way, and maybe they can up the speed a bit. 2
teams that are very far ahead, though, are the ones at the bottom here.
Yes, Shanghai Dragons and the Spark. They are our next series. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to bring you our final series of the Eastern region. just a teeny tiny break there as we got ready for our final series of the day. It is, of course, the Dragons going up against the Spark, and these are two teams on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to our leaderboard, but they're not in first place because, lo and behold, it's the Seoul Dynasty still pulling out just a fraction further in front of them, Avril.
I mean, it's a lot of points, though. I mean, both teams are very likely to make the mid-season tournament at this stage.
Yes.
Shanghai definitely copped a pretty rough loss yesterday, but now that they're past Seoul, I mean, it's acceptable. You lost to Seoul. It's understandable. That being said, I won't give the Dragons too many benefits of doubt here because there are a couple of areas that did concern me. One of them was the fact that Lip didn't look super comfortable on the Sojin. At various points, opted to go back to the Ashe. Not too dissimilar to what we've seen from EasyHan, but I feel like the best players are finding it comfortable on the Sojin, are getting the value of the Sojin, like Fitz, like Stalker, like Leave, like Shy. Lip's now going to have to play against Shy. So take a look at the other side as well in terms of Hangzhou Spark. Shy was dominant in his game versus the Guangzhou Charge, and that's a huge part for the Hangzhou Spark to rely on. And beyond that as well, Alpha Yi's Echo, especially on the good Echo maps like the Ilios that came out, and we are still in double push here for the APAC region, so Alpha Yi has plenty more opportunities to play that Echo. All of these things are really difficult to get past because the DPS line of the Spark had already been looking damn good, still looks damn good in the mid-season madness, and on top of that, Bernard's flexing his hero pool to also include heroes like Ball, a traditionally main tank hero for an off-tank player like Bernard.
It's like you said, it's the best performing tanks at the moment are the ones who kind of like are expanding that pool and are able to extend the range, because that was always going to be the big like contending issue migrating from Overwatch 1 to 2 was like how good could the tanks change roles. Or oh my god, I don't know what's going on there, but Lip's camera was just zooming in on his face. What's going on with Lip's camera? Sorry, that's broken me a little bit.
He's trying to press his lips on the camera.
Ah, yeah, give everyone a nice little smooch. Thank them for turning up and watching the Eastern region and being a Dragons fan. Oasis is our first map. We're not really changing up anything. The biggest deviation we kind of have here, Avril, is that we're going to Circuit Royale instead of Watchpoint Gibraltar. And of course, our control map at the end differs.
That actually might help out Lip a little bit there as well, because it'll allow him to play the Widowmaker, which Shy didn't look too good on yesterday. So if there's anything there, I think the Dragons will be leaning on that. And this is kind of one of the matches where I'm feeling like it should be close, because Spark looked good yesterday and Dragons did not. And the things that look good for the Spark are the same areas that I feel like are lackluster for the Dragons. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Lip and Flitter duo was not that great yesterday. They need to be far more impactful today. And we are going to start things out once again on Oasis. It's Gardens again, Tread. We've been here before. Look, we'll be starting out of the Sojin, Shy on the Ashe.
Void gets that position, disrupt the shot, stops the angle from being checked. And now they put Alpha Yi onto the point as well. No one's really got the definitive positional advantage. If you had to give it to someone, I'd probably give it over to the Dragons, though, as they seem much more established. Spark finding their way in. You've got a nice roll through coming in from Bernard, seeing what they can do. They're just going to be posturing around the point as Bernard rolls back in. Marvel can just keep him at arm's length with that boxer's poise. Irony cannot step forward. They've got both angles checked right now. It's really hard for anyone to make any inroads to the point. No, they've not been able to get away with that cap just yet because of the contestation. Finally, does go over to the Dragons.
Yeah, that's Bernard very low HP for a long time as well. Shy, brilliant headshot onto Flatter. Bring the numbers back over towards their side once Bernard comes back in. You did see that Shanghai Dragons had like 99% of the camp for the longest time. They'll finally get it towards the end with both the DPS down and Flitter coming back online. Shy is just controlling the battlefield. This will be Spark. Getting the cap.
What a dominant first fight coming in there from Shy. Builds up a huge amount of percentage on the Ashe and basically leads his team to getting that flip so early on into the map against the Dragons. 17% was only what was accrued, and Alfie is checking Fletter's routes of ingress already.
And it was 3 final blows for Shy as well, burning up towards the bomb. Will be really important for this now defense. So see what the rest of the Shanghai Dragons can do. Void, especially on this dude, needs to get into the face of players as soon as possible. Nano from Bebe saves Iziaki, who would have died to the pulse.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, looked away. I was like, oh, I just got to get by the pulse bomb, and then it goes off camera, and he's still alive. I'm like, sourcing for the answer. What is it? And it's Bebe's nano boost. Railgun charge put in place for Lip, has the right click ready to go, and uses it immediately on Alpha Yi to shut down the Tracer. but they've not got themselves onto the point until Void jumps into the high ground. And Matrix is in a very safe position to be able to use that. Meteor Strike slams down on Irony. Oh, and Shy has nowhere to escape to either. The Dragons are going to be clapping back and retaking this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Off the back of Void as well. How many kills is that? 3 to 4 so far. Lip tried to overclock, was instantly fragged by Irony, so thankfully the rest of the Shanghai Dragons, led by the Doomfist tank player of Void, was able to get it across the line, and without any other ultimates expended either beyond just the overclock and also the death, Meteor Strike, I was going to say. I was thinking Reaper for some reason, don't know why my brain went in that direction, but Lip will come through now with the instant headshot on the Shy, so a fresh Ash pick for Lip, instantly getting dividends.
Just failed to hold the angle, try and look out for a couple more of those. They know that Alfie snuck in somewhere, and of course Bernard's probably going to do the same on the ball. So have to keep the head on the swivel for the time being. Throws that dynamite
slow.
in.
Spark needed to find some ingress soon.
Just letting map percentage accrue right now. Minefield deployed. Where was it deployed? Up on the high ground. Lip gets slapped down by Alfie. Dynamite over the top. Izayaki under pressure. Will be using that Transcendence to emerge onto the point and escort his team to safety almost. They had to play around the angles, but it wasn't safe for too long as Alfie and Irony find the backline of the Dragons. They go for cleanup here, and there's a flip coming in for the Sparks. This is much more back and forth than what we saw earlier today.
And it's such a better performance from Alfie on the Tracer compared to yesterday, but also better than Fleta, who is still looking, a little bit rough, a little bit soft in terms of the performance. Played it low to the Reaper from the kickoff clash, and coming into midseason, man, it just has been falling flat on performances. Lip had that initial frag on the Shy, but since then it's been pretty quiet. He hasn't really been able to do too much. Having some Izayaki damage certainly helps, and that'll be the kill.
They're just like laughing at Lip right now. Wait, you have to use your Zenyatta to get frags? Chuckling at each other as that happens right now. Fleta drops down from the heavens. Keeps the pressure on to Alpha Yi. Playing around the pillars, has access to the health. Lip's got a good angle here to try and control these entrances. Throws the dynamite over the top for Izayaki again. Moves around, finds Shy. We're in overtime right now for the Spark. And with Void going down, it does not look like Dragons are going to be able to retake this one. Lip throws the Bob out before getting taken out. There's no Immortality field on the side of Spark. False Bomb comes in, and Super Rich has nothing to save themselves with that one. Stick come on to Izayaki, but they're trading it back as going to find another one taken out. Fleta's being mowed down. All the Discord being a huge difference maker there as Alfie can just spray around. Minefield, Meteor Strike drops down. Doesn't get the ground fast enough to keep the overtime going. And it's 100% to 75. Spark take the first round.
Dude, Alpha Yi is sick today. I mean, I was, again, criticizing the Tracer yesterday, and I think previously in the kickoff clash as well. I was like, well, Alpha Yi, he's been dominant on the Genji, on the Echo. Yeah, I'm sure there's another pick out there that I'm forgetting at the moment, and we're looking towards the Tracer. It's like, yeah, it's been a good Tracer, but wasn't as dominant. I've got to change my mind now. That was a great Tracer performance.
Yeah.
Really pulled the team together, many final flows. And unfortunately, one of the key, I think, difference makers on that final fight in the second to last fight was that Void dies at 98%, so couldn't Meteor Strike away to save himself and continue the fight. Comes back in, is the only one there, ends up having to use the Meteor Strike to live, and as we saw, ends up hopping off the point because of it, and they lose the capture point, and the map is gone. But I think that round was already over. Hangzhou Spark had definitely taken the lead. Both teams now starting out on the show, which means health pack control, this mega pack and the jump pad control on that high ground, super important. Will be the side of the Shanghai Dragons taking it first, especially with the kill into Alpha Yi.
Yeah, Alpha Yi was there for the contest, but a little bit outnumbered. Void gets boxed in the corner. Orb Discord and a couple of shots from Shy should be the triggering factor there. This first cap going over to the Dragons. They start to get themselves set up and not really using the high ground just yet. One shot into Shy. Coach Gun puts Lip up there, and that's probably where he'll want to be for safety.
So Lip getting a decent lead over Shy now as far as Bob goes can be pretty important for this point. Just a stall. Putting pressure onto any members. A big open sightlines as well, so Bob can really shoot anybody. Offer you down to Izayaki again. So did a brilliant job of getting damage and surviving on Guardian, but so far it's just gone 0 for 2 as far as KD on this particular round. Struggling.
They're just constantly being challenged by those orbs as well. Every time we cut over to them, there's a Discord on there. Harmony can only do so much for them. As I said, great sightlines to use not only for Bob, but for themselves. They're able to keep an eye on the entrances and turn around to help the support line should someone go to attack them over there by the Mega. Bernard waiting for his team to go in, rolls up to the high ground, goes for Izayaki, tries and block him in the corner. Oh, he gets the support he needs, but Lip's there for the support, as we call it. Bernard gets taken off the map. And there's a second kill coming in as Fleta will find Shy. Pulse Bomb online for them as Alpha Yi's taken down. This is some dominance from the Shanghai Dragons. 60% and climbing, and the ults are starting to come online. He's got a Pulse Bomb, Transcendence, and Meteor Strike on the go. Well,
pretty good trade coming through. So when Bernard goes for the dive into Izayaki, they'll manage to push him away, take him down. Lip's there for the damage. Fleta receives a nano and gets the kill to Alpha Yi as well towards the back end. So brilliant stuff to get Fleta back into the game. So further slowdown onto Alpha Yi's impact so far on Civic Center. Has a Pulse Bomb available. Out goes the bomb.
Yeah, I don't know how far that went. Did that actually manage to get onto the point? Oh, it did, right at the back there. I thought it got clipped on the wall as he put it out. Alpha Yi finds Void, Super Rich taking out Lip. Oh my god, it's looking very pink right now, and this is what Spark needs. 99% is about to be accrued, so it's an overtime push to try and get this flip. And now they're going to have to hold it for perfection if they want to deny round number 3.
Yeah, great stuff there. I mean, you want to be targeting Void here. You can go for the backline, but it has been difficult, as we saw from Bernard's POV. But every time that Void goes for a power block, it's a free Pulse Bomb stick if you can find it, which shouldn't be too difficult. Speaking of finding things, Irony, straight away onto the Lip. That'll just be an instant reset for the Shanghai Dragons. In terms of trying to catch up on percentage points and get more ultimates online, very important for the Hangzhou Spark to just get a freebie like that. 1 kill, 10 seconds of waiting time, 3 percentage points, you love it.
Looking towards backline of Spark to try and survive this one as well. We got the Transcendence, which is a good panic button. Lots of instant kill potential, though. I feel like on the side of the Dragons, they might not be able to mitigate it all.
Lip Bob here.
Yeah.
Oh, or not?
Well, no, it would not be a Lip Bob, unfortunately, because Alfie is woken himself back up again, getting himself to the performance we saw from round number 1. Void under pressure again. You know that was going to be a focus for them. Has the Meteor Strike for some semblance of safety. Will be forced away, getting some healing from his team to try and stay into this fight, but there's no real pressure on the Spark losing this until Super Rich goes down. Does get the Out Matrix out before falling, as Irony will also use that Transcendence. They had an overlap, but Izayaki goes down to Bernard. Oh, they're not going to be able to keep this one up now. They have to wait for Izayaki to be able to join them with that ultimate. Lip will finally be in a position to get the Bob online to keep the challenge, but Shy is about to match them as well. So you're going to have Bobs doing the fighting for them if they need to. Pulse Bomb thrown up by Alfie. He doesn't catch Bebe. So we'll now get them onto the point. Bernard has to roll away. They're so low. They're about to lose their tank. Oh, no. This could be disastrous, as Dragons might be able to get the flip here. They can keep the pressure up, but they've lost Bebe as well. Transcendence comes in from Izayaki to life support the team back into this one. Get rid of the Immortality field. Yeah, well, no, they're going to trade back. Both Zenyasas are down now as well. Where is Fleta? Pulse Bomb online for them. Void gets taken out again. 99% overtime. It's the Spark that is still in control. They can take out Fleta. This should seal the deal. Dynamite on the floor. Doesn't have a chance to take the shot, but Bernard will get the roll through to do it. And it was so dire for the Spark, but they're able to clap back and close back the map. Spark takes an early lead in the series.
Yeah, and the struggles for the Shanghai Dragons unfortunately do not end. A brilliant map played by the Hangzhou Spark here. A little bit more of a comeback towards Fleta getting frags. Void looking good on that initial map, that initial Gardens. Have to credit Izayaki for being one of the top fraggers across both teams. I mean, both Irony and Izayaki, the Zenyatta players, are certainly getting the numbers in there, but Alpha Yi is the talk of this opening map so far. Definitely, I think, the best player across both teams. Started out slow on the city center, but warmed up towards the end there. Quite a large number of frags. Failed to get the Pulse Bomb to Baby, but still cleaned him up regardless in a 1 versus 1 towards the end, making sure the supports are out of there. Izayaki not being able to, for some reason, to use that trance in the second to last fight, I think cost Dragons quite a decent amount, and then ends up using trance with Bebe going down already. 4-man trance, it's not enough. Izayaki and the rest of the Shanghai Dragons failed to get the rest of the damage in there. And Lip, I don't know what's going on with Lip, man, but it's not looking like the same Lip from 2021.
Let's see if we can hop in a time machine and bring 2021 Lip back into the present. Wait for this next break. When we come back, we are heading over to Midtown.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Spark with the ignition, they lead the series 1-0 against the Dragons, who now need to come back as we head into Midtown. We've already identified a couple of issues with the Dragons. They're not able to really keep up with the play of the Spark right now. Been a couple of shining lights from that team, though. I think you highlight Izayaki towards the end of that series being a star player for the Dragons still, but as you mentioned as well at the end, Alfie just seems to be dominating the server right now, and I'm so enthusiastic about that based on where they've come from and what they're starting to do this season with the Spark. They're in their rookie season right now, and yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on moving forward.
There's certainly plenty of rookies on this squad, right? But then you look on the other side, it's all veterans on a single rookie. Not saying that they need one, but a squad of veterans who have, you know, I would say is definitely the reigning champion of the best team of Overwatch 1. Seemingly still trying to find their way through Overwatch 2, especially in this stage as well. They seem to have mostly gotten there in the kickoff clash, where towards the end, okay, they did lose to the Seoul Dynasty, but Seoul Dynasty currently look like the best team in this region, and one of, if not the best teams in the world as well. So that I can't fault them for. But going 0-3 versus Seoul doesn't look pretty when you took them to map 5 twice in a row previously. Losing one map to Spark so far is definitely not cause for alarm, but
no, you
need to see Dragons pick up something here. You know, a map backwards, maybe map 3 could be theirs as well. A 1-1 scoreline, a 2-1 scoreline somewhere. Certainly you wouldn't want to see another 3-0 with Dragons not picking up anything.
Yeah, it's just going to be a morale killer, isn't it? You know, especially in the lead-up. You're one of these teams who want to be making it to mid-season madness, but not only doing that, but performing in the upper echelons because of that legacy you accrue for yourself towards the end of Overwatch 1. The team needs to pull together. Lip, toying with the idea of the Sojourn, but I don't know if they're going to commit to it when they did go back to the spawn room. I think it's been long enough. I think he's sticking out on the Sojourn, but you can see the hesitation there about whether they want to go for the Ash or not still.
Well, the thing is, they see that Alfie is playing the Echo here, so I think Lip is probably going to be in a position where he feels like he wants to be on more of a hard hit scan. That being said, most of the other top hit scans in the league so far have just... They would definitely stay on the Sojourn, even versus the Echo here, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. I did also speak about the Alfie Echo before we got into this matchup today, and kind of had some words to say about it being fantastic, and it would show straight away why that's the case. Instant
it's been
kill
demonstrated against
Void.
Demonstrated against Void, find the first kill. Shy deals with the Immortality Field, gets the headshot onto Izayaki. Spark gonna deflect this first offensive quite easily, it looks like.
Still waiting for Dragons to find that opening right, and this is where I have to get back towards the Lip conversation. The Sojourn play is important for that. You have Shy on 41, Lip on 20%. Shy already got a frag, starting things out onto, I can't remember, was one of the two supports here. Alpha E as well onto Void, as has been mentioned. And for many teams on a map like Midtown or any hybrid or even Escort, a Sojourn player would be opening the checkbook as far as the rails go. So once we see that Lip connection to the rail, things will be good.
They've lost Izayaki again. Irony just finds the headshot, gets the kill, denies the Zenyatta. Now Void left out to dry, does fire the accretion in. It's not enough to save them. Does commit the railgun shot there, but not really needed. Another deflection. Oh, there you go. Lip's found the opener.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And the time is actually reasonable as well. I was going to say, you know, Void even dies with the Immortality Field. Maybe the lamp came down late. But you have to see Dragons kind of push out of there. We see from the overview, Void is only returning to the team. So despite killing Irony, I thought Void was maybe closer. They could have pushed up if Void was there. But because it's not, this is going to be struggling. Alfie's in the backline here as well. So keep an eye on the kill feed for Alfie popping up.
They're on the point for the time being. They don't really want to give him the 33% or the checkpoint.
There it is.
Alfie's Izayaki keeps dying first in all of these fights. I don't think he's lived to any of these skirmishes, Avril. They've given over the 33%, but now they're trapped in a tiny Overwatch room looking for the healing. Super Rich, thankfully, can give the burst healing to keep... Vega can actually give the burst healing to keep him up. Lip gets the trigger onto Irony, answers back, but Alfie and Shy have found 2 to his 1. Alfie's Echo
that
still
rock.
relatively unchallenged. They box Void in. He plays around the mini health pack, but there's so much damage ricocheting off the walls. There's nowhere for you to escape.
Yeah.
And Void goes down with 1 minute 10 remaining. This offense from the Dragons has not been powerful. They've just been running into a brick wall.
Yeah. And you see 2 kills come from a lip, right? 2 railgun kills onto Irony. That's the only 2 kills that Shanghai Dragons have. They've only got 2 final blows, both on lip, both on Irony. The rest of Spark are deathless. 0 deaths. Alpha Yi leading the way on final blows, and we saw Alpha Yi on their backline. That's why Izyaku went down, because Alpha Yi was lurking on the backline, looking for a support to snipe. On an Echo, I know it's an Echo, but still, got him.
Yeah.
Got the kill.
Oh, Fleta gets
Got
the
him
pulse
again.
out, so finally the trade. You've taken the raid boss down, and it cost Fleta his life. Void keeping an eye on the side angles right now. Flux, in effect, trying to catch him. Manages to catch him right on the edge. Shy gets caught on the ring of the Flux. Couldn't slide out of that one. Now Irony's committing that Transcendence to try and stabilize the team. Buy time for the reinforcements. What a shot from Lip with the overclock to take out Alpha Yi. Deny the big man in the sky the ability to play. And Dragons suddenly are uncontested up in the skybox. They're on the point, they're capturing it. Reinforcements coming in from the Spark, but they're still faltering on the exit point. And I think the Spark actually just going to give this one to them. Point A.
No, they're coming, they're coming.
Wait, Alpha E goes in there, uses the iframes, gets on the Sigma, but immediately gets taken out, loses the duplication. But you're right, it's bought him enough time to go for the contest. Fleta goes down, Shy's found the shots. Alpha E now able to play Overwatch 2 again, but Void takes out Shy. Lots of resources being put into Void. Izayaki answers back to find it, and finally the Dragons will get the point A capture and get the payload in motion.
Yeah, it seemed like a very optimistic retake there from the Hangzhou Spike, but I respect the attempt because you do have this duplicate on towards the Sigma. Maybe if Alpha could have survived a little bit longer, kept that duplicate form up off the back of some Shy damage, you'd have seen a much better contest. However, have to credit the fact that Void takes down an overclocking Shy using his Flux as well. Lip gets to snipe into Alpha Yi, and one very important microplay that happened was the fact that Alpha Yi dies to, he's going for the duel versus Fleta. I believe he dies, but doesn't get a chance to go for the duplicate. He kills Fleta, gets stuck with the pulse bomb, can't find a targeted duplicate. He would have avoided the pulse bomb had he used the iframes, but I just don't think he saw anybody.
No, he wasn't able to get himself to that safety point. Bebe's Immortality Field, the only victim so far. Void gets stunned out of the sky. Railgun online for Lip as he migrates back around to the payload to keep that moving. Try and get out the other side of the tunnel and stop this choke point from being used. Alfie comes up over into the sky, provides some reinforcements. Fleta looks up on the Hanzo, but Shy finds the railgun body shot onto Lip, giving the numbers advantage back over to the Spark. Only 1 minute 15 left on the clock. That time extension not looking very strong right now because of the overtime take on point A.
Yeah, they just don't have any distance, right? Waiting for a Dragon or Overclock or something to come online. Low HP members, Izayaki was going to stay forced to probably trance here.
Transcendence for Transcendence, trading it out. They get the overlap nicely. Shy with the overclock finds Fleta, going to use the slide to get to a better position. He doesn't even need to be there. Alfie can handle the front line more than enough. Cleanup duty's there. They lose Alfie on the backside because Lip was able to get a cheeky railgun shot. 30 seconds remaining. This is probably going to be the last offensive for the Dragons. They got 3 ultimates to play with. They're only running into duplication and possibly the Flux from Bernard.
But we'll come down to also opening damage and pick potential from Alfie and Shy, or maybe Fleta and Lip can do it. They certainly have the Dragon Strike and the rest of the ultimates to get it done. Window will also be quite important. Fleta taking some decent damage here. Time running out, as you mentioned. So, need to get themselves on towards that point ASAP. Still not enough damage coming through for a kill just yet.
Dragon Strike on the point. Spark not split by that. They are together still. Fleta back in the corner, gets the healing they need. Lips on life support, 27 HP. Someone help him. Finally gets it. Overclock was used in that instance, but no, there's no rest for Lip. Up into the sky. Skeet shooted out of it by Shy's railgun. As Irony finds the second kill of this fight. Fleta and Izayaki. Oh no. Void is just the only person left on the payload as overtime is about to tick down. The shield cannot protect 360 degrees. And there you have it. Payload stopped. Benchmark set. It's now time for Spark to try and match on their offense.
And even with the GPS ultimates from the Shanghai Dragons between Overclock and Dragon Strike, they couldn't outdamage Shy and Alpha Yi, where both Lip and Fleta went down. Alpha E dies, I think 2 Lip as well, in fact, even had his duplicate taken away. Shy ends up living on barely any HP, healed back up, and that ended up being a huge difference maker. The fact that 1 out of the 4 DPSs survives, and it was 100 Spark DPS, gives Spark the 4 versus 3. 4 turns to, well, 4 gets 3 down to 2, down to 1, which ended up being Void, and as you mentioned, can't do anything there. Point goes away, we're done. So, Hangzhou Spark looking in a great position to get this 2-0, assuming that A goes well for them. You have to remember that Shanghai Dragons basically had to go until overtime to even cap A, which limits their progression on B and eventually on C had they have gone there, but they didn't. But would have taken away a lot of time for the rest of progression across the rest of the map quite significantly. So to get to the end of B, I think is reasonable for the time that they had. How good is the defense going to look? Because I still think, and this seems to be pretty true, backed up by stats as well, the Shy and Alpha E have been wondrously outperforming Lip and Flitter.
Even the eye test would tell you that one as well at this point. But it's good to have the number backing. See what they roll out with here. Flitter going to try their hand with the Echo. Alpha E onto the Tracer this time as well. So going to try and play the Ground War instead, but has to be conscious of the aerial that Flitter is going to be putting in. Shy will probably be turning some attention up there once they get some damage and charged up railgun shots to apply that way.
The goal for Alpha E here, and similarly I think I could have spoken the same to Flitter's goal when he was on Tracer for the attack, is to draw attention away, play for the backline, pressure Iziaki and Bebe there, maybe even touch the point to force people to turn around. Alpha E will be on a mission for sure, and if he can do that, force attention off, then Shy can start getting some frags in it, Irony super rich as well, start getting some damage in. Story of the 2 railguns will be, I think, the story to tell here, because that is the most likely tool to open up fights.
Nice recall there. Alpha E gets him on the point still. Turns around to Void. He's pretty isolated now. Orbit Discord has still been applied. Shield from one way keeps him up, but while this has been happening, Lip and Flitter have got on the board. That's a 3-for-1 trade in favor of the Dragons, so they'll hold that first defense.
And because of a couple of late kills towards the end there, including Irony, Spark won't really be able to use this frag into Flitter. Good trade to at least slow down the Shanghai Dragons to keep them honest, but they won't be in a position to force a 5v4 anytime soon, so Flitter will be back to the team now for sure. Need to check in on the ultimates. Bebe, by the way, just sailing ahead of Super Rich and everybody else in the server. Already has a window available well before anyone else can get an ultimate.
Yeah, you talked about the 2 railguns. Well, an Amp Matrix definitely is going to help out one of them be significantly stronger than the other. They can apply that. Doesn't need it though.
Railgun.
Lip taking out Alpha E. Shy waiting for yours to get laid on the ground, bud. Train can't start until you put that one down. They have to be so muted right now, just playing backwards, giving up all that space and just waiting for the reinforcements to come in. It just plays into the hands of the Dragons. Oh, there's the window.
Oh, never mind, actually, yeah.
I mean, that was unnecessary damage. You didn't even need the window at that point. You've already done enough. Irony, why? I'm not sure why you pop the Transcendence here, unless they can get some cleanup on the back. I'm not a fan of that one. Pulse Bomb from Alpha E finds Iziaki, and Void actually ends up going down as well, so not the worst thing in the world. They have got a window to push through here, and Bernard still holding strong, creating the space for the team to be able to push up and claim more of this.
They have a window in the sense of having the amplification matrix, but also a window in the sense that Shanghai Dragons are down members. They could be down again if they're not too careful. Here, there it is. Bebe being taken. Shy with the overclock.
Doesn't let Lip escape. Catches him in the back as he's trying to go. And another one for Shy with the overclock. Spark, they've got this one in the bag. Point A captured, and they're going to have time in the bank to try and match the point B push.
And I was going to say as well, before Lip went for the flanking play, that one of the biggest difference makers in that skirmish when we look towards the ultimates was the fact that Void got a much earlier flux than Burner. I think he was about 40 to 50% ahead, nearly doubling Burner's ult charge. So when the windows come on down, and this time I am talking about the Amp Matrices, Void can use his flux where Burner can't to counter. So that would have been a huge point of difference. Shanghai go for a very aggressive window, works well for Lip, but Spark off the back of that just push forward knowing that, okay, well, Lip's behind us, we can just run up. Only did pop the Transcendence. At the time, it looked like they were popping in a losing situation, but made the best of a bad situation, made the best of that situation, good or bad, got frags, evened up the numbers, and then played the numbers with a respawn advantage to cap the point.
Great set of play there from the Spark to be able to get point A. Irony's almost back up to the point where they have that Transcendence online again. They're going to need it if they want to match Izayaki. Lip has the overclock available. Yeah, the whole buffet, but no one's pulling the trigger. Oh my goodness, Lip needed that Immortality field so much. There's that Transcendence to mitigate, but Irony's gone down. Not going to be able to match that all-important ultimate. You can see the Spark are in retreat mode. They're trying to keep up and get themselves alive. The payload has been moving this entire time, Avril, very close to the completion point. As the Spark tone it down a little bit and wait for the numbers to regroup. They're going to wait a little bit longer as Fleta has removed Alpha Yi with the focusing beam.
And Alpha Yi was the one pushing the payload there, right? So Fleta goes back to contest, take down the target as well. Lip on towards Shy, further slowed down. It's single kills, the staggers. As Alpha Yi comes back up, Shy goes down, so another 10 seconds they have to wait. Burner has to make sure he keeps the rest of the team alive. Still plenty of time. I mean, 2 minutes remaining with ultimates online and coming online further from the Hangzhou Spark. But when you look at where the Dragons are, they've held onto the other 4 ultimates and have not been forced to use them. It's just been the Trance so far. Dragons still in a great position.
Right, nice catch there. A little bit of terrain to protect them. Fleta moves forward with the duplication. Tries to get his own Flux online. Not really needed for the time being. Yeah, gets it online right at the end there. Might be able to catch some reinforcements coming in. Only going to find one. And
oh, he lost his duplicate.
That's about it.
Just in time.
That's unfortunate. But another reset for the
Shy
Spark.
would have died. Shy was on half HP, so Fleta runs out of duplication time. Shy lives, otherwise Shy would have died. And at that stage, you know, you wait for another player to return. 2 minutes now becomes 1 minute trid as time is starting to look really dreadful. However, the ultimate exchanges go the way of the Hangzhou Spark. They lose a fight, but they win economically. And the payload, while moving backwards, is still in a pretty reasonable position. Disruptor shot goes towards the next map, and with the last minute remaining, we'll hope the overclock comes through a little bit better than that.
50 seconds remaining. What are they paying attention to right now in that tiny room? You can see it's the Sigma and the Bat. Just keeping them there. Pulse was thrown out there, but not going to find any connection. Bebe dropping the window. There's a tight corridor to play with. They've actually trapped Bernard in the corner right now. The Immortality field is there. Pulse forward. Flux online. Can we take him out? Lip, 3 HP. Finds an Immortality field to stay up and then turns it around onto the Shy. No one touched!
Oh.
Spark was able to get it out!
Hey, it is Shanghai. It is Shanghai. They're known for this. They are known for this.
The classic Shang 9. Oh no.
They look like they were winning too. They legitimately looked like they were winning the fight.
Yeah.
Shanghai Dragons. You know, Lip kind of started popping off. Had the good old overclock in there. Pulling up some shots. Saw Burner throw his rock into the next universe. You know, both Shy and Burner just kind of sending utility out of Midtown. Flying that over towards another city. I won't name which one. There's a few that rival New York. But in any case, man, that's a little bit upsetting for Dragons. I feel like Dragons probably could have won that map, but failed to contest the payload. We saw actually Alpha Yi pushing the payload sneakily the entire way through. Got dealt with by Fleta, but kept, you know, feet on it. Alpha Yi just kept kind of retouching the payload, keeping it active at all times. Shanghai Dragons themselves getting active in the team fight. But at the end of the day, the objective is king, and they did not do anything about the final push-in. So surprisingly, in some cases unsurprisingly, Dread, Shanghai Dragons will not contest the payload, and here we go, 2-0.
Well, the dominant scoreline so far for the Spark. Only one more map required to close out the series. When we come back from our break, we'll be going to Circuit Royale. Welcome back to the Midseason Madness qualifiers. The Spark lead the series 2-0 against the Shanghai Dragons after another classic Shang 9. But that wasn't the only problems we've been seeing so far in this series, Avril, but it honestly felt like that was winnable for the Dragons if they paid attention to the objective at the end there.
I mean, a couple different things there for the Dragons, right? Because we talk about, okay, maybe they could have contested the payload. Obviously, that's number one on the priority list. However, consider the fact that they never got the payload further in the first place. I mean, had they capped B, alright, they got back capped, maybe B goes. We saw a C to defend, it's not all 100% over for the Dragons. They struggled so much on their attack that the maximum distance they had was, you know, enough for them to make it competitive and give them a chance to win, but opens them up to things like, okay, well, it's under the underpass there, Spark, just push slightly over, and they're done for. I think mentally as well, as Dragons have to kind of check themselves slightly because we're in a situation they've been down so many maps. They lost 3-0 to Seoul Dynasty yesterday, looking like a potential for another 3-0. Now we're going to Circuit Royale where maybe Lip onto the Widowmaker could be that much better. I did tee this one up before we got into map number 1, Trig, which is that Shy didn't look good on the Widowmaker yesterday. Lip traditionally has been good on the Widowmaker. This could be one matchup that Shanghai Dragons finally have over the Spark.
Well, here's the rollout from the Spark. They are going to go ahead and commit to the Widowmaker Hanzo, so double sniper with Bernard on the Sigma, and of course double flex support backline. I have a feeling we're probably going to see something similar. Do you think Fleta rolls out with the Sojourn here, or do we go like traditional double sniper?
Sojourn Widowmaker, I think, is a viable combo here, so that is probably what it looks like to me. The other combination that you could go for is the Widowmaker Hanzo, as Hangzhou Spark is currently doing. And even though Jinmu won with the Genji here, I probably still wouldn't really recommend that one. That's Chengdu doing Chengdu things inside the Chengdu zone here. In the normal world, we are going to be playing double snipers, seeing how that goes. So the opportunity for Fleta to do something here will be very interesting. We haven't really seen him on the Sojourn before. As the Shanghai law would dictate, they had this internal Sojourn 1v1 tournament. And funnily enough, Fleta actually won that Sojourn 1v1 tournament, even against Lips, so maybe there is a good case for Fleta to be playing the Sojourn.
I love that. There can only be one champion. We have to decide internally over who is going to lead our Sojourn duties. And so I will be taken on by Fleta. Moment, they've just got around that first turning, the first real turning of the match, should we say.
Slowed by Spark.
Yeah.
They've already given up the first corner, right? You see the first corner gone. Bit of water shots being exchanged here, and Spark have to kind of put their foot down somewhere. It's going to have to be at the second corner. And inside that, I don't even know what they sell that shot, but the shop as well. That has to be a point of contention.
They're just giving up more and more space, though. Like, they're just stepping back constantly, and that's probably why they were worried about Lip getting away with a cheeky headshot. And now without the Widow threat, that just opens it up for Lip to be able to play it even more aggressively and take even more aggressive sightlines. As Void deals with Alpha E, Void again, there's Irony, there's not much left there. The gatekeeper that is Shy's Widow keeps Lip in check, and if Shy goes down, it's all over. Alpha E now jumps onto the Genji, so it's not the Jinmu. So.
No, it's not, and well, there's a couple ways you can read into this one. I think the Genji has merit and has value on C, but he's gone Genji too early. This is not where Genji is good on this map, so unless Hangzhou Spark and Alpha E have just kind of given up on B, it's like, let's just play our C defense comp a little early here. He's definitely pulled the trigger too soon for this. Speaking of pulling triggers, I mean, look at Lip's ult charge compared to Shy's. Fleta also gets Irony, so Hangzhou continue being behind.
Spark have just permanently been on the back foot here. Payload just being escorted by one person, and it is Lip who's just going to play around that one. Does buy the Spark even more time to regroup. They're not under the massive amount of pressure. Shy's going to be able to answer that back, though. He's only 4% off, so everyone's going to have knowledge on everyone at this point. Flux thrown in there by Void. Going to catch the back line. Oh, this should be big, but there's a nice block there from Bernard to keep the team up. Immortality Field's gone down, window deployed. Shy now gets his time with Infrasight and uses it to great effect to find Fleta. Izayaki answers back onto Super Rich. Flux going to send him up into the sky. Transcendent should mitigate all of the threat there, especially with a terrain to block out Void. Going to use that healing overlap to try and win out the tank fight on the ground. But Irony's there, and Izayaki gets taken out. Alfie sneaks in. And finally, the Genji's finding some value here, Avril, and it's the first time we've really seen the sign of lights. But Fleta with the railgun finds it. Shy then takes the head off of Lip. So Spark have finally been able to stabilize. That's the takeaway from this one so far.
It's the slightly earlier transcendence from Izayaki forced out by Bernard's Flux, and obviously he's going to have to transfer the middle of the Flux, and not just when he lands, simply because otherwise Shy's going to snipe him out of the sky. So we saw that Shy's crosshair was immediately onto Izayaki, and he knew it, so he popped it. Only gets to use his transcendence a lot later, giving the Hangzhou Spark the opportunity to push on forward. Alpha, you got that one frag, like you said, still not really looking towards the Genji doing too much more than that.
Yeah.
And Shy finally coming up with the kill feed as well. Importantly, taking down Lip in the middle of that fight to keep things competitive. So, 2 minutes 50 remaining now as Shanghai Dragons eat a big reset. But as we do reset, only one ultimate available, and that's going to be the overclock.
Keep an eye on Fleta then. Shy did apparently.
And there goes the overclock. And that's
Just off in
important
the
for this fight
distance.
because now, when you look at timings, Alpha and Burner have the opportunity to start getting a few more ult percentage points up. It's still tough going for Alpha. You can see that every single time that he wants to basically, you know, peek for a bit of damage, he sees Lip, has to back away, or instantly has to deflect. I mean, there is a world where Alpha Yi can bait Lip into killing himself with a brilliant deflect. We've actually seen Alpha Yi do that a little bit before. There's a bit of a highlight reel of him doing that onto Gibraltar. Here comes that window.
Disruptor shot as well. Bernard's going to play around the fringes of it. Nice dash out there of the Flux, but Bernard still deals with Fleta. Void will try and sneak around the terrain, but there's a good amount of sustain there to keep Spark topped up, and it's only one pick, but it's enough to stagnate the entire push of the Dragons. Nice deflection there. You were talking about it, Avril. Wasn't it quite a headshot, but it was enough to put Lip back in check.
Yeah, Alpha is really good at those. That's one thing that Alpha can try and do. One thing better that Shy can do is use that infra sight to get himself a frag.
Oh no.
It's got a little bit deep here. Has a hook shot available to get out though, so here comes that Flux now for Void.
Transcendence used. Immortality field gone as well. Alpha Yi not using the blade just yet, but still getting the kills. Dives into the front line, dives into the face of Bebe, returns back to the fight, and 1 minute remaining, and a very critical ultimate still online for the Spark. That blade can produce incredible value in these final fight territories, surely.
It can and it can't, because the problem is you need to wait for Dragons to kind of push forward first for you to get this blade off. If you try and blade too aggressively, you don't have support. The only real support your team can give you is Shy maybe, you know, providing Overwatch. I'm not just talking about the video game here, and Irony giving a Harmony ult. That's about it, really. You don't have a Nano here. You don't have the survivability. The whole team for Shanghai can turn on, and there's a trance anyway, so Alpha has to time this blade very well. Probably has to wait out Izayaki's trance, if anything, to get the maximum value.
Can't wait too long though. Only 30 seconds remaining for the Dragons. Might have to use it just to win a neutral. Well, it would be a neutral at that point, but you know what I mean. Just to be able to win out the fight aggressively. Void stunned. Alfie very low. Needs some healing. Where's it coming from to keep him in the fight? There's that Transcendence. Alfie, now's your time. If no one goes down here, this blade comes out, could be the difference maker. Up into the sky, drops down below, sneaks onto the back line, goes immediately for Void. While this is happening, Irony and Shy have been picking up frags on the back line. He didn't need the Superstar Blade, he just needed the attention. And the rest of his team will deliver. The Spark shut down the push of the Dragons.
That was such incredibly good discipline by Alpha Yi as well, not to overstep on the blade. Like you said, he didn't need to go for the Superstar Blade, just enough of a blade to get a single frag, even take a bit of attention away from the Shanghai Dragons, then play that one super safely. Just back out, don't die. You don't have to go for the rest of the kills on the blade. You're allowed to let the rest of your team kind of handle those frags once you give a +1 over, and then clean up the fight afterwards, jump on top of Lip. He can't handle you after that when the rest of the Dragons are gone. And it seems like after one major reset, when Hangzhou Spark, with Dragons actually pushing the payload all the way to the top, nearing the end of B, Hangzhou Spark winning an important fight, Shy killing Lip even one time, and then Spark just maintaining control of that high ground, Shanghai Dragons failing to make any sort of progress upwards. Alpha Yi wasn't super active, he was just chilling, he was poking for a bit of damage, deflecting shots back to Lip, waiting for opportunities to maybe get a bit of damage to the back line, but played it super safely. I got to credit Shy for mostly maintaining that defense, because he went from not really doing anything to outplaying Lip and sitting on 7 final blows, which is the highest across anybody so far on this map over the course of that half.
Spark able to shut it down with, like I said, more of a team effort. I know we put a lot of focus on the Alpha E Blade, but yeah, credit to him. As you said, the discipline, not having to be the superstar. Let's see what happens with Spark on the offense. They are going to mirror the Sojourn Widowmaker combination. It's basically a completely
Never seen
mirrored
Alpha E
composition.
snipe before. So this is the first time we get to how far can he flex? I'm not just talking about the guns here. I'm talking about the hero pool in terms of Alpha E playing something very hit scan. When we talk about hit scan, I think, you know, Widowmaker is the quintessential hit scan. This is one of the unique heroes in Overwatch where, I mean, the point and click skill here, I mean, it's just so different to everything else that Alpha E plays. And he's gone up against Lip as well. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, peeks the corner, gets a body shot sent his way. Doesn't need to contest Lip because Shy will do it for him on the Sojourn with that headshot with the railgun. Alfie, now without the pressure of having to deal with a dominant Widowmaker, might be able to flex their skills and show us what they've truly got.
Oh, there it is.
By finding Izayaki and the headshot on the back line, so that's a 2-man advantage for the Spark. They're going to have to press it further. And point A, already in the bag for them, much faster than what we saw the Dragons were able to achieve, despite what we thought was quite a passive defense from Spark when they were on theirs.
3 to 4 kills for Alpha E alone.
Yeah.
And he's just running up for a few more. Sees Lip, unfortunately won't get the kill on him. Dragons have to respect him. I mean, this is the world we're living in, where you have to now respect the Alpha E Widowmaker of all of the picks that he could have decided to pick through. The fact that Shy actually snipes down Lip with the railgun instantly gives Hangzhou Spark so much room to work with. As soon as Lip went down, the A defense was done for. They couldn't contest either of the snipers. It was looking pretty tragic. So, Shanghai Dragons can take us to a map 4. They got to get this defense underway the same way Spark did once we got to the end of B.
Body shot again for Lip. Needs to get those headshots in. Where's Shy? What's he going to be doing with that Sojourn? Is he going to be able to answer back again?
Watch the fluxes.
Just playing on the main. 99% to 97. Bernard has a slight lead. Void pulls the trigger first. There's a good cluster of Spark players. Only catches one in the end, though, as he goes up into the skybox. Fires down a meteor from above.
Oh.
Fleder goes on a deep flank. Tries to railgun Alpha E. Will find it with the spray down. But Fleder is there to equalize. Bernard will be trading back and forth. It's a messy fight so far. Shy gets in the face with the overclock. Lip cannot keep up with that amount of damage. He now gets rid of the immortality field. Void is so vulnerable. Shy on the Sojourn
Dude, they
has
can
been putting up numbers towards the end here. And Fleder will try and hold the line. Respawns have to come out fast for the Dragons, but Spark are about to walk this one over.
It's over.
With a 3-0 scoreline.
Victory.
Not a single opportunity there, unfortunately. You see the Lucio coming through from Bebe. Fleder was dead. Void trying to come back on a ball. They just couldn't touch. I don't want to even hear about the C9s. We had a legitimate C9 in Midtown, but that was not one.
No,
here
that was
on
not.
Circuit Royale, this is just Dragons being dead.
Dragons
What a
getting
fantastic
decimated.
B defense by Spark to set us up in a situation. I mean, it's similar to Midtown, isn't it? We have a brilliant C defense, or B defense in that case, not even having to play C. And Spark do it back-to-back on 2 separate maps. Shanghai Dragons on their defense. This time around, Crumble, I still think maybe they could have rescued and won Midtown, but no. The Circuit Royale was just not within reach, sadly, for the Shanghai Dragons. And who knew that Alpha Yi could also be a Widowmaker player, taking down the Shanghai Dragons, players like Fleder and Lip. And I mean, this is one of those moments where you think about, when you think about the Rookie of the Year race, Alpha Yi's like, well, let me just add a different hero from the other guy's hero pool into my mix to do it. And off the back of that, what do you do? Is that a gap? Is that Alpha Yi's gap to everybody else?
That's the gap running ahead.
Away?
If you're looking at the sideline, it's like a horse race. You're just watching it, and Alpha Yi is just pulling ahead in that race right now. 100%. Every new hero, every new string in his bow is another argument to be like, yeah, let's start talking about that Rookie of the Year, Alpha Yi.
Let's start talking about the player of the match here as well. It is, of course, Alpha Yi, who dominated on basically every single map here. I don't think he had a poor performance across the board anywhere. Tracer, brilliant stuff on Oasis. Echo on Midtown, and then a Widowmaker even on Circuit Royale. Like, goodness gracious, he's actually played like a different hero every single map and pounded just as hard on every single map as well. The flexibility coming on through, the mechanics, the execution, and then we even saw the discipline to, you know, not have to go for the superstar play, but it's enough to win the team fight and win the map. That's exactly the type of player that you want, who has the capability to go absolutely off and be that dynamite carry play, but then also is never going to be the detriment either, is never going to overstep and be the player that kind of feeds over a kill or does something to the detriment of your team. And maybe in the past, as we saw towards the end of Kickoff Clash, and they didn't have the best performance in the actual tournament, but now that we're into the mid-season madness, you can just see this Hangzhou Spark roster come through in such a strong way, building from their losses, learning from those situations, and improving even further to now be better than the Shanghai Dragons. And I said yesterday, could the Chengdu Hunters be the second best team in APAC? No. Fundamentally, I think it is the Hangzhou Spark, and even now, I don't even know that they could be second or first, because Hangzhou Spark have yet to play the Seoul Dynasty, but what I can say is, between Seoul and Spark, these are our two best teams.
Confident words there from Avril, and I'm inclined to agree with them. Alfie's been fantastic, so has the rest of the roster. I'm going to have to pull up the details and find out when that clash will be between the Soul and the Spark, because it's chalking up to be the match of the region. And if we then potentially get it as a rematch in the tournament stage itself, because if they're going to vie to the top, they're going to have to face each other eventually. Next week. So there's an incentive for you to wake up a little bit earlier and tune into the Eastern region, because you're going to be able to watch a superstar clash. Anyway, it's been a fantastic day today. Quite a quick one when we look at the scorelines compared to earlier in the week, but it's been a fantastic couple of games all the same. I've been Trid, this has been Avril. Be sure to stick around for later, where you can catch out the North American region.
Strike.